Hey everyone, hey and welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. It is your host Tom Kwei here. Today we have a bumper edition in store. We are going to be going through every single King of the Dot title match. By my count, there are 21 of them at this point. We are recording this prior to, although it's been announced, Chilla versus Real Deal, the rematch going down at Mass. And, you know, I know there's 21 because I've gone back and watched them over the past week or so, and it's been a joy to do. And you may be familiar with the episode we did about 5 or 6 months ago with Tom, where we went through the Don't Flop title history, and it's going to be the same today. We're going to go through in order all the way back from Bartone versus Kid Twist up to Head Ice versus Chilla. We've got a 10-year gap. And, you know, just before we get to that, before we get to the guest, if you enjoy the show, follow us at battlerapresume on Twitter. battlerapresume@gmail.com is the best way to get in touch with me. Patreon is there. We have an RSS feed there, so all the episodes that we do go on there first. And I'm doing less episodes, you know, as of late, so you'll get access to the episodes at a premium. You'll get access probably like a month before they drop on YouTube, on iTunes, all those main feeds. Of course, we're on iTunes as well. Leave us a review on iTunes. We're on Spotify, YouTube, subscribe, all those different platforms. But, yeah, really excited to get to the day's guest. You know, I love battle rap, of course. I love podcasts. I listen to a lot of battle rap podcasts, and two battle rap podcasts in particular have kind of transcended that mold and just became podcasts that I really like in general, regardless of the subject, because of the host, because of the contributors. So one of them is Black Compass. I always shout out Black Compass, and the other being Let's Talk Battle Rap. And Let's Talk Battle Rap just has, you know, a coterie of talent, of knowledge. Of course, you know, you've got your main guys, Vlad and France over there, but you've also got you know, Bad Money, and my man Tim, of course, my guest Tim. Tim, how's it going, sir?
Man, it's going good, Tom. Thanks so much. And shout out to Dylan. Dylan is our Houston representative. Yeah.
Yeah, tip of my tongue there. Sorry, Dylan. He's not as a regular feature, but King Snowflake, right? That's what he goes by?
Yeah, that's him. Okay. That's him, man. Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, Tom. This is just huge for me. I've been a big fan of Battle Rap Resume, been a Patreon supporter for years, and so this is a real honor, and like honestly, like I remember watching my first premiere battle where you were like doing the announcement and like hearing your voice, and I was like, we made it, we did it, yes, you know, we made it to the promised land. So shout out to you, man, for all you've done.
No, thank you so much. I mean, yeah, that's like when I saw France on Champion. Same feeling.
Yes, absolutely, man, absolutely. Yeah, I was so ecstatic to see those guys on there. I think they've done like 6 episodes or whatever, and you know, we're on the champion panel of the year, which was just a huge honor. And it's so fun to just hear the behind the scenes stories of how all that stuff goes down. I'm a huge Jay Black fan as well. So shout out to Champion.
And, you know, we got a lot to get through here. Time is of the essence. Like, you and King of the Dot, like, this first battle we're going to get onto, Kid Twist versus Bartone, 10 years ago, more than a decade ago, this went down. Were you there at, you know, pardon the pun, ground zero, or did you come in slightly later with battle rap with King of the Dot? When did you start?
Oh, that's a good question. So I started with battle rap a long time ago with Scribble Jam and Blaze battles and stuff like that. Yeah. But once it kind of switched to the Smack DVDs and stuff, it just it didn't grab my attention. You know, the opponents were kind of saying random bars to each other. They weren't like focused at each other, and so it kind of lost my attention. So it wasn't actually until years later where my best friend DJ Trackstar was like talking to me about battle rap constantly, and I'm a dumbfounded fan, like a music fan. And so one day I saw his battle versus Kid Twist, and I just, you know, saw the thumbnail on YouTube, and I was like, I'll watch Dumbfounded battle some frat boy. And of course, it's an amazing battle. You know, went down that whole rabbit hole and been stuck ever since. So yeah, I haven't actually been watching KOTD since the beginning. It's actually only been like the past few years, but I've definitely gone back and watched. As far as I know, like every King of the Dot battle that's ever been filmed. You know, excluding like some GZs and PYs and stuff like that.
Even like Fork Farm's back catalog.
Yes. Yeah. I've seen. Oh yeah, I even transcribed a Fork Farm versus Charron battle. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a disease. I've like given up. You know, watching movies, listening to hip hop. It is just battle rap just took over, and that's how you become a degenerate like myself.
Yeah. I've started using that word. Vlad always uses that word, and it's the ultimate descriptor. And going through and watching all these battles, it's been a great primer, because obviously I wasn't around when Kid Twist versus Bartone came out, but watching all these battles, from the first one to the most recent one, you can chart the growth of the league, can't you, in terms of production values, crowds, the intro videos, the quality of the writing, the competition. It encapsulates everything.
You know what? And that's a really good point, because when you watch the very first one, Kid Twist versus Bartone, they're battling for $300, and some guy from the crowd is like, I'm putting up $30. And the crowd goes crazy. There's like, wow, there's a guy who's putting up $30 of his own money, and now they're battling for $330. And you're just like, wow, that was a big deal. That was a big deal back then.
And okay, let's get into it. Kid Twist versus Bartone.
Just stop, dog. Your government name is horrid, and you've been getting no love in the States as a tourist ever since you got fucked in the face by the Saurus. He off the raps endlessly, giving off this fag energy, practicing in front of mirrors like he's dodging mad enemies. It's the son of Bill Nye, but his job is lab chemistry. So how you plan to rap and carry on your dad's legacy? Yo,
Organic, I always knew you were a prick. This is proof you're the coldest fucker. You let your oldest brother sleep in a homeless gutter. And walk by him on the street like, no, we don't know each other. Hey, you should show more respect to grade A vets, seeing you're on the same level as Rich in what, AA steps?
Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is 5. I think this was the fifth event of there. And, it's a very charming battle. It's such a throwback. And the comments on a lot of these early battles, especially the next one as well, the Hollohan battle, everyone's saying battles aren't like this anymore. This was back when battling was fun.
Yeah, and the crowd's just so into it. After every line, the crowd's just like, woo! They're and I feel like that's what a lot of leagues are trying to get back to, of just have the crowd just really be immersed in it and really engaged. And I think it's really hard to do. It's really hard to get a crowd that hype anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything, isn't it? It's like the best albums are the one you get into a teenager, the best video games or, films or whatever, you become a bit jaded. But yeah, here we are with Kid Twist, to a certain extent fresh off that WRC success, now the bodied screenwriter and everything beyond. Right. And a lot of these lines, they haven't aged a bit. Like, I was still reacting. Bartone, less so, some Family Guy, silly nanny things, nerdy references, Woody, that sort of stuff. But Kid Twist really packs a punch. The whole reason for Cambridge's steep rate of sheep rape. Can't tell if he's caveman or Ku Klux, but either way he makes fire with 2 sticks.
Yes, that was an amazing line. I want to say that was the best one of the whole battle. Kid Twist still has it. His lines have definitely aged better than Bartone's has, and it's good. I mean, that's why the guy's considered a legend. And it's so great to see him go off and do something as big as Bodied. Shout outs to him. It's great to see battlers 10 years later still doing things in the culture, pushing it beyond this niche subculture that we have.
And that lineage as well that runs through the chain that I never really appreciated until I did this episode. The fact that Trevor D, who does the chain jewelry, he's referenced in pretty much all the battles. Like, he's referenced up until like World Dom 7.
Yes, yeah. Trust Trevor D, custom jewelry.
I need to speak to that guy. I need to King of the Dot's official jeweler, that's fucking crazy. But I mean, Bartone for me kind of just existed as this joke. I don't think I'd ever. I knew that Bartone knows these hoes. I know that gets referenced all the time, and he's not terrible here. But with that kind of WRC pedigree behind him, with that professionalism, Kid Twist takes this and becomes the first King of the Dot champ.
Yes, yeah, and rightfully so. And honestly, as we go through, it was kind of surprising to me to see how many times they actually got it right. They picked the right person to actually win. There are definitely some, especially as you get later along, where I don't know if it was the right decision. But man, you go a long time before you, in my opinion, we find a bad decision. So yeah, they're whatever they were doing it right. Maybe as Nameless's judging. What was it? Nameless's scoring system or what?
2.0, 3.0. It keeps evolving. Yeah.
And you can always see him in the background taking notes. Man, shout out to Nameless.
Oh yeah,
man.
definitely.
And sodomy's the special ingredient for the sexual deviant, because we know God loves seeing men on both knees for him. This freak is through. You call yourself God? I agree with you, because only rednecks, racists, and pedophiles believe in you.
And look at his skin, he's dying, the cancer's so thin. He's the reason I'm all for Randy smoking. He's so pale and he's more tan than lotion than there's water in the Atlantic Ocean. See? Because you're an embarrassment to rap in this country. It puts all us real cats in a bad mood. You're pure white, skinny, and weigh nothing. Why am I battling the line of coke I just did in the bathroom?
So we get to the next clash, which, you know, you need these kind of early face-offs of people on the rise. Like, you know, I'm thinking of, like, you say, your O'Shea versus Censor, for example, that you know, was the first time I should know for a lot, but had happened prior. Kid Twist versus Hollohan. Now, I love, even though they feel very 2009, 2010, the opening graphics to this video are great. They remind me of, like, you know, those lyric videos that bands do, and they don't have enough proper money for a real one, and it really gets you hyped for the clash. It shows the bars that have gone before. It's got all these kind of, like, you know, sort of proto Photoshop graphics going on.
Yes.
So there's a lot of love that's been poured into it.
And I really wonder who was making those, because Avocado wasn't around back then.
Pre-Avo,
I'm not. But I'm sure it was DJ Doctor, the KOTD DJ, who was, you know, doing the scratches and trying to put the lyrics to a beat, which is pretty hard to do. But yeah, you're right. It gets you hyped for the match. And in a lot of these battles, we're going to see they have like interviews beforehand of like each of the matchups coming up. And it's a great way to build up hype for it. And I really wish that they'd go back to that.
Yeah, this was June 2009 that this got uploaded. I mean, I imagine it happened, you know, quite soon around that time. And Organic shouting out Grind Time, shouting out Don't Flop. And, you know, Twist goes for some pretty typical angles here. The Canadian History X, the racist. You only call yourself God because racist rednecks and pedophiles believe in you.
Yes. And you know what? Hollohan wasn't slacking either. He had a great one in his second round where, you know, he's trying to do the jokey thing because that's what KOTD was really doing back then. But you know, it wasn't hitting until he did that Simpson line where he's like, it's all crusty, itchy, and scratchy, and the crowd just goes nuts. Yeah, he did a good job adapting. You know, he was a guy who I feel wasn't like the comedian type, but he knew that was the league he was in, and he knew he would have to switch his style a little bit to get the crowd behind him, but still stay with that aggressive Hollohan that we know him as, and he did a good job with that.
I mean, this is a classic sort of brains versus brawn clash.
Yes,
and Hollohan, it's fantastic in his early battles. I have to say, like, I've always been a fan of him. I sort of came to him through the Cortez battle.
Sure.
Was enraptured by the guy, and then was a little disappointed with the Clips clash, and then he battled T-Rex, didn't he? Blackout 5, which I mean, no one. I remember that moon rock bar by T-Rex, and it was just like, make the moon rock. It's like, okay, I guess. But you know, Hollohan has a killer second, and what he does, he weaponizes his drug use. He admits that he takes cocaine. There's no shame in it. You're pure white, skinny, and weigh nothing. Why am I battling the line of coke I just did in the bathroom?
Dude, and the crowd went crazy.
Yeah.
They went absolutely
Love
crazy. And Tom, that was such a great line for you to point out because I feel like it shifted everything. Because in round 2, Kid Twist is getting really personal, which I don't think I've ever seen him do before or after. Yeah. But he's getting really personal about it, and he's making him look like just a heroin addict who's really, this is your guy? Come on, look at this loser. And then when Hollohan says this, why am I battling the line of coke just in the bathroom, everything switched. Yeah. I mean, he basically like won the battle with that line, because then after that, he just, we go to round 3. And Kid Twist starts talking about, when I was at Jump Off and Scribble Jan, you were here sniffing coke. You were in a ditch sniffing coke. And he keeps doing that line. But at that point, the crowd doesn't really, they're already with Hollohan. You know, it's they had kind of agreed that we don't really care. We don't really care that that's what he was doing. Yeah. And it was genius. It really, really was, which is why I think Hollohan deserved to win that round. Plus, he had a fantastic multi. He's like, I just want to know how my heroin needle is wearing American Eagle.
Oh
my God.
Love that.
That was so dope.
was some really like funny, simplistic stuff that works. If I could trust you as far as I could throw you, that would make you my best buddy ever.
That's so great. And those are the lines that I feel really win battles. It's the lines where it's like, it's not super complex and you have to know the last 10 years of battle rap to understand it. It's like anyone can hear that and think it's really clever and funny. And those are the type of lines that really resonate with the crowd. Those are the lines that you remember. Those are the lines that make you go, I want to pick that guy as the winner.
Totally. I mean, yeah, Kid Twist is still great. He comes a little more esoteric in the third. Call him the Halifax Explosion. He's a Nova Scotian disaster. I mean, I'm not really aware of my Canadian history in that, but I can sort of get the bar and the idea of him cramming in 250 schemes, because when you're on methamphetamines, that's how long a minute seems. I love that.
Great.
Yeah, that was great. That was good.
And then Hollohan, I don't give a fuck if you can type 200 words per minute, which ends up coming back later in other battles and stuff. But it's great, man. He was they both took their opponents seriously, and I think even though this is a title match that I don't think gets a lot of love. I mean, I've never heard someone say this is one of the best title matches, but it's short. Oh my gosh, the actual rapping in it is 8.5 minutes. Like the actual battle is 8.5 minutes long, not per round. It is 8.5 minutes in its entirety. That's insane, but I love it because it's short, sweet, the lines hit, and it's over. So even if you don't like it, who cares? It was 8.5 minutes long. You didn't miss anything, I really, really wish they would get back to that sort of format.
Oh my God.
Maybe not quite that short, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
These hour-long.
No, I'm sure you've got the app. I've got the app. And you have like Ryder, Stewie Newton. That's like an hour.
It is an hour.
And there's no bars in that. Like the bars we've just read off now. I had so much more fun watching this battle than I had watching that battle. I watched that battle yesterday, and I was just really bored. And this battle's so entertaining. And the third as well. Hollohan kind of feels like he knows that he's won, and he gets more furious, more hyped. The Tyrannosaurus Rex versus Alanis Morissette, which is love that. And he takes it. I don't think I'd seen this battle for many, many years properly. So it was a joy watching it back, and I'm definitely going to put this in rotation in the playlist. And Hollohan takes it. This is early King of the Darts, so we don't get all the judges' decisions at the end or whatever. He gets given the chain, he shouts, he looks really happy, and then it just fades to black, and it's a nice, sweet ending.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And props to him. He deserved to win. I think Kid Twist, it seemed like he was more of the face of the league at that time, but it doesn't matter. Hollohan was the better person on that day, and this is where we start seeing a shift. Had Hollohan not won, that's what's so amazing about all of these. Had these certain people not won, the whole trajectory of everything would have changed. Had Kid Twist won, he probably isn't going to battle Thesaurus and put his chain up, for the title. And that's something that only Hollohan would have had the balls to actually do, which changes everything for King of the Dot. But that's in a couple. The next one's Hollohan and Jack Shitt. What'd you think of that one?
Now get a hold of your emotions. I don't care if your childhood was brutal. I hope you had an alcoholic stepfather who sexually abused you. I hope he beat the shit out of your mom while you prayed to make it right, and I hope those memories still haunt you and keep you awake at night. Hey.
Shit, I figured you'd be used to it by now when you've been getting made fun of your whole life. See, because in high school, all the cool kids and bullies would chase Jack for 3 at the bell. They'd catch him, and as the most popular kid in the group would beat him to hell, the cheering crowd around would laugh and all the people would yell, which brings us to today. It's crazy. History has a strange way of repeating itself.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I like what you're saying about, how the title matches are a fulcrum on which the whole storyline rotates. Because Kid Twist and Jack Shitt, I think, had just battled, or around that time, so they wouldn't want to do a rematch that early. Now, Jack Shitt, he's kind of, he was a big figure in early King of the Dot. I mean, most of us UK guys will know that he battled Kruger on World Dom 1. He's got like 27 battles, but he hasn't battled since the end of 2011. This, again, I thought was a little bit of a repeat, but Jack Shitt is kind of a poor man's Kid Twist in many ways.
Absolutely.
Tried to come a bit more spoken word, a bit more dismantling, but again, Hollohan still on this, cocaine-fueled bulldozer tear. And you know, he was terrific though. Like it was at no detriment. It was a catalyst to his power.
Yes, and Hollohan did a couple things really great in this first round, where it starts off immediately asking the crowd, "Do you really want this jokey shit to represent our league?" And right there, he's like drawing a line in the sand where it's like, really, this guy named Jack Shitt, look at him. Do you really want him to be the champion? And it's hard to say, yeah, we want him over you, you know? And then he keeps going. And one of the best things about this battle, I want to say like the most notable about it, is that Hollohan bursts the line, "History has a strange way of repeating itself," which ends up coming up in at least 7 or 8 King of the Dot.
That has to be the most iconic King of the Dot line. I can't think of many other things. Yeah.
No, and it's crazy how often that actually comes up. But yeah, but you know, Jack Shitt, he did a good job. He did the impression of Hollohan where he just like and that was hilarious, right? But the one thing I feel like Jack Shitt did really well in his third round, he does this whole thing about how Hollohan was Battler of the Year and he's not even very active. And the crowd was like, that's really true. And they started swaying with him. But, you know, Hollohan starts his third, and he's got a great rebuttal. He dissing Organic for losing to Dizaster. He's doing all these little things that like getting the crowd on his side, and that's what made him so feared at that time. He had a lot of different aspects that he could use. He was more well-rounded than we actually think of him as. I think we kind of think of Hollohan as just being like this aggressive roid head, when he was very well-rounded as a battler.
Totally,
I would love to see him back.
I would love to see him back as well. And you know, it's a shame, really. Maybe this is just a kind of lost era of Hollohan. This was his kind of golden period. Like, there's so many people I would have, you know, him versus Unanimous, for example, in like 2012. Times Change tournament.
That would have been incredible.
I mean, what you mentioned before as well about him undermining Jack Shitt is so true from the start as well, because Jack Shitt says, you know, Jesus, I'm AKA Jesus, what the fuck? And then Hollohan's like, shut the fuck up, impersonating me, you faggot, and really snuffs him out of the intro. And did you see a very young Charron in the background as well?
I did. Yeah, Charron shows up in a lot of these battles, and he's always very hyped. But you know who you can't miss in the background? Sketch Menace.
Right.
Standing behind, Sketch Menace is standing behind Hollohan. You have to watch it again and just, you know what? You don't even have to be a battle rap fan. You should go and watch this battle just to watch Sketch Menace behind Hollohan. It is, I don't know what he's on, but every single line that Hollohan says is the greatest thing Sketch has ever heard in the history of verbiage. You know, the guy is just freaking out over every line. Like, his face is melting over every line. It's pretty amazing.
And it's 2009, so we get these grind time multis, Hollohan in the first, cut your throat like trying to shave going over a bumpy road in a construction zone.
I love the multis, man. I really do. Yeah, and they definitely came with a lot of creativity. You know, I feel like the Saurus birthed all this sort of stuff, and these guys just kind of just said, this is how it's supposed to be done, and I'm just going to think of every multi I possibly can and just choose the best ones and throw them at my opponent. And you definitely come up with some really fun ones.
And we get our first, you know, judges video, so we get to see a bit more insight into the decision process. Cool to see Gully here, you know.
Yeah.
Before he was urging us to pick up something for your girl, he's
just funny you say that. That's so funny.
Just a fan.
Yeah, I always bring that up. You know, whenever I'm watching a battle, I'll like look over to my wife and I'll be like, "Hey, this guy right here, he's gonna want you to buy something." Or he's gonna want me to buy something for you, maybe a tea or something. He's like, pick up the merch, maybe something for your girl. You know, I love that, man. That's funny.
And we get the post interviews with them as well. You know, Jack Shitt says it was really hard to keep it with the energy. He talks about the Grand Prix, and Hollohan talks about the album he's working on, which I don't think has ever been released.
I don't know. You know, I know he ended up releasing a song about Bruce B, and I can't remember the name of it. But it is one of King of the Dot's most viewed videos of all time. It's on the KOTD channel. It's like top 20 most most viewed. So beating out a large catalog of their battles is Hollohan's tribute song to Bruce B.
Damn.
The one thing I want to point out about this, Hollohan became the first person to defend the title. Yeah. And that ends up being a pretty big thing because not very many people have done it. All right. Yeah. The Saurus.
The Saurus versus Hollohan.
I've collected some evidence. Call me the district attorney, so y'all get to witness a murder and sit in as the jury. Exhibit A. Okay. What exactly about prison rape did you say? You'd grab King Don Juan's ponytail and fuck him. Bitch, explain to us one single way that isn't gay, Nick Lachey.
2006, Elements League started in Nova Scotia. One-on-one battles openly admitting they're written. Direct joined the forum involved and realized this made for way more intricate dissing. After a while of being a fan, he decided to give it a whirl, and that created the largest battle company in the world. So don't say that I'm imitating American culture when I try to spit, because Canadian battle rap is the sole reason that grind time exists.
This is March 2010. I mean, to put this into perspective, I think the Dirtbag Dan battle versus Saurus happens after, so grind time's still in full flow. This is Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is volume 14. I'm pretty sure Avo's involved here. Now, this might be a controversial thing to say, Tim. I think Hollohan actually beat Saurus.
I actually had Thesaurus, but this is a close one. I want to say I feel like Thesaurus's first round is like what makes me think that he won. I thought his first over Hollohan's first was far superior, but I do think Hollohan won the second, and then I got Thesaurus just kind of slightly edging the third. But there's a lot of great things in here. You know, you got Thesaurus bringing up history has a strange way of repeating itself, which of course ends up being a thing. But Hollohan, man, he has a line that I don't think a lot of people like really noticed in his first. Hollohan says, his uncle had multiple sclerosis. His family disowned him and made him a social outcast like Nick Nolte. When Thesaurus walked in the hospital and said, damn, that's a sick multi. Because multiple sclerosis.
Yeah. Oh,
I thought that was amazing,
subtle.
Man.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, you know, it's like, how does someone even come up with that? And I don't know, it kind of goes back to something that happens later in the battle where who's really writing here, you know? We know Pat Stay as the legend, you know? But at this point, he was Hollohan's right-hand man. He was under Hollohan. And when you hear some of these lines where you're just like, oh my God, this is genius. How'd this guy come up with it? When I look at it now, I'm like, I bet you Pat wrote that. You know, I don't know if that's true. But like, I have such a high regard for Pat that I'm just like, I could see him coming up with something that clever.
And it's worth saying as well, originally this wasn't intended to be a title match. And seemingly on the spur of the moment, Hollohan just puts it up. Like, I don't really know why he did. He throws it up. He says he's a man of honor. I mean, what do you think of that choice?
You know, speaking of Charron in that last battle, you can see him in the background here when Hollohan puts it up. Charron's freaking out in the background. Can't believe this is happening. And it's funny because you look at Organic and he's just like, okay, I guess this is happening. Yeah. But it's weird because this is supposed to be an exhibition match, which doesn't happen very often. And it kind of makes you think. So KOTD seems to have it where you are the champion and you don't battle again until you have your next champion title. For some reason, they set up this thing with the Saurus, and it's an exhibition match that wasn't supposed to be a title match until Hollohan makes it one. But just think, what if Pat Stay had done that same thing against Calico? He was the chain holder at the time, and his exhibition match was against Calico. What if he was just like, you know what? I'm just going to throw this up, and Calico can be the KOTD champion if he wins. Calico, a lot of people have Calico winning that. Can you imagine Calico as a King of the Dot champion? That would have been weird. So I just bring that up to say, like, this is a really big deal, you know, and it had to be amazingly shocking for everyone.
Yeah, and I guess I don't have Saurus winning just because, to me, chronologically, this was a little bit of a fallow period for Saurus, post two times, kind of pre a resurgence. I don't know when I would date the resurgence, maybe around the Big K, Bender, sort of 2015 battle, and he goes in his incredible run, you know, the Rone battle, the Fresco battle, the QP battle, the Topper battle, Reverse Live battle, the Ava battle. Not to say that there isn't some great performances in that mix, like the Nestle clash, for example, is terrific, and, you know, I like a lot of his stuff versus DNA and Kruger and stuff like that.
Yes.
But,
yeah.
you know, Hollohan just... A lot of gay jokes from Saurus here, which is fine, but, you know, you put your dick in another guy's dick hole and stuff like that.
Sure.
Stuff he wouldn't really do now, whereas Hollohan, I think he's second especially. Saurus is a challenge for any opponent to come up with original face jokes, and I think he does succeed. You're either a deep-sea creature or got fired a long time ago as being the world's most incompetent beekeeper.
Yes. Yeah, there are some great ones, man. There really, really are. And that's something you can almost expect with any Thesaurus battle, where you're just like, there's going to be face jokes in here, you know? And some of the times you roll your eyes, and some of the times you're just like, yeah, that was actually pretty clever here. But I think what stands out to me in this battle is Hollohan's second round.
Yes.
You know, he does a bunch of face jokes or whatever, but then he talks about why KOTD is better than Grind Time. It gives the history of the Elements League and how they created current day battle rap. And one thing, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but Pat Stay versus Shotgun Suge. Pat's third round against Shotgun, he does the exact same thing.
Oh, I've not actually seen that. That's cool.
It's a great battle. It's a great battle, and Pat's phenomenal in it. But his third round versus Shotgun Shook, he brings up that same thing where he's like, I helped create what we're doing today because I was part of this Elements League. We were the first ones to be battling offbeat. Like, you guys are here because of me. And as soon as I heard him say that, I thought about this round with Hollohan. And obviously you have to give props to Hollohan for doing it first, and obviously almost, 9-10 years earlier. But it's really hard to combat against something like that, where you're just like, damn, we really got to give this guy more credit than we actually did.
Yeah, you've got to, in a title match, you've got to write bigger than normal. Like, I always bring up the example of, like, Soul versus C Major, when he goes back in time and, goes all the way back to the Bronx and, and all that sort of idea, and brings it back to, like, Censor, and it's all this multi-paradigm sort of stuff here. And I like that Hollohan did that, and I don't think Saurus kind of treated it as any other battle, but I think most people in the comments, at least when I was reading it, do give it to Saurus because, to be fair, Hollohan does slip up a little bit. He doesn't choke necessarily, but Saurus is a lot cleaner.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I think works against the Saurus in the next battle, because I feel like he wasn't quite as prepared as he should have been against Arcane. But I think in any title match, when you slip up, you have something, it stands out so much more, because the judges are trying to they're going against two people who they think did really well, and a slip up, especially a choke, but even a stumble can help sway someone to the opposite side, because it stands out so much. It's not perfect. So I think Hollohan, I think that definitely worked against him in this one for sure. But what's surprising to me about the Source, though, and that he got the win, is he opens up his third round saying, thanks to King of the Dot and Grind Time, we'll be living forever. We'll also have 100 times more fan because we're bigger and better. Yeah. Like, he's really decent. If I could win if all I did was talk about how much better my league is while I'm reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Like, yikes. And they ended up giving him the chain. Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
It is. I mean, maybe there's more value in having Saurus as a champ. There was more brand recognition for this burgeoning league. But still, Hollohan was great. And maybe, I don't know, behind the scenes, they thought this guy is a little, unreliable. I'm just imagining there.
Yeah.
But we push forward to World Dom 1. This was August 2010. The Saurus versus Arcane.
This fucking faggot made a video blog saying how he got no love for me.
but he's too much of a two-faced pussy to say that shit in front of me. Cause publicly, you're all respectful, like, you's a legend, it's an honor. Meanwhile, I'm fucking offended that he's the best that you can offer.
He'd be cool if he just, I don't know, concentrate, lost the weight, hit a treadmill, shit, do some jumping jacks, walk in place. Instead, he walked to the cash and curry, ordered 6 of the largest plate. Lopesci's dad had to come out and tell him, fuck off, falafel face!
I mean, Arcane is someone who's had quite a few goes at the chain. We're going to have quite a few of his battles here. It's a 2-year anniversary of King of the Dark. The opening interview as Arcane saying he's the hardest working motherfucker in the league. I'm actually still trying to get Arcane on the show. I have messaged him.
I would love that.
I would love that. He has been down for it. He has said he'll do it. So we're just trying to get something together. I mean, this is a huge fucking event. You know, Poison Pen up front.
Yes.
You know, if you watch this battle, you know where they're battling. There's been so many classic King of the Dark battles here. Steel City hailing. Arcane wishes his dad happy birthday. Saurus says rest in peace to his dad. And, you know, this was a bit of a battle for the ages, wasn't it? Arcane had come up through the ranks. Saurus and OG even then. Very exciting prospect, these two.
You know what? I love that you're giving Arcane some props here and that you want to do an interview. I'd love to interview that guy because he has such an interesting history, and everyone knows him for one thing, right? And it's really easy to take away what he's done. So he was a guy who had I want to say 3 battles on King of the Dot before he entered the Grand Prix. And when he entered the Grand Prix, he wins the whole thing. He beats every contender that steps in his path, and he ends up against the Thors in a title match. Like, that right there is amazing, what he just did. But he comes up, but as soon as I'm thinking, like, gosh, Arcane is really slept on, he starts his first round, and do you remember what he did, Tom?
Well, yeah, he starts talking about the Wups and Juice battle, right? And splitting the cash.
Yes. And he's like, we've all, you know, it's all personal angles. And he talks about, the controversial win. And he's talking about, you know, how Illmac is writing Thesaurus's lines and how Thesaurus isn't a real battler, you know, and how can we look at this guy as a champ when he's not even writing his own rhymes? And you watch that now, and it just takes away everything. I like want to be Arcane's champion. I really do. I want to be like, you guys are all dissing him and focusing on one thing, and it's not that bad. You can't. Not after his first round against the Saurus, where he just takes half the round just trying to railroad Thesaurus and make him look terrible for sharing rhymes with Illmac when that's exactly what he did. Oh, and buying lines from Kid Twist.
Kid Twist,
it's like, how can you do that? How can you really be a winner if you're buying lines from a Canadian? And he is a Canadian who ends up buying lines from an American. It is hard.
It is.
It's really, really hard to see.
It's some rich dramatic irony. You know, methinks the lady doth protest too much, but you know, Arcane does have a great way of putting a bow on top of something and sealing it with a punch. Wouldn't be 2 times shit without a Canadian's help. That explodes.
Yes, no, and he does the thing with poker. He does the thing with the WRCs, and then he does the thing with his girlfriend. Yeah. Like, he has great angles, and you're right, Tom. He wraps them up in a nice bow, and he delivers them with a great, you know, payoff. And that's what helps him win battles. I mean, he was really, really effective. It's just, it's just hard to watch it now.
It is, yeah. I mean, stripped of context is a bit more impactful, but yeah, knowing everything that's gone down, and especially because we're doing this episode and we've watched the Dizaster battle the other day and stuff, and it's just a bit cringy. And you know, Saurus does well throughout the battle, but you know, I think it's a fair decision. I do think Arcane beat him.
I do too. You know what? I agree. And it feels weird after I've just been saying all that, but I do think that he deserved to win. This is one of the worst Thesaurus performances I think I've ever seen. And here's the crazy thing. Thesaurus barely wraps in his second or third. His second round is half the length
really
of
short.
Arcane's, and his third is like a quarter of the length Arcanes. And I mean, like, it's not even like he's doing like a 1 minute grind time battle. Like, it's half of that in his third. And those bars are all about how old Arcane is.
Yeah.
Which just it's different if you're battling Head Ice and he looks like a super old guy. I don't know about you. I don't look at Arcane and go, wow, that guy's super old, you know?
Totally. And
so,
like, Pete's no youngster himself. Like, it's the same thing about buying bars. That dichotomy's weird, like.
It was like when Danny Myers was battling Swave Sever and calling Swave Sever old, and Swave's like, dude, we're the same age. What are you talking about? You know, it just it just doesn't hit.
Yeah, I mean they're both clowning on each other in that second. Like, you know, Arcane like it's very 2010 because we get Jersey Shore bars that still get a reaction. But you know, Arcane had like, some good throwaway lines. You know, talk about Saurus' weight. You would be great if rap didn't have breathing involved.
Oh, that was so great. Hey, he has one of my favorite Thesaurus face jokes where he says, "So when you're wearing that UFC belt, I thought it was highly out of place. Mixed martial arts might get you cauliflower ears, but you got a cauliflower face." Oh my god,
I love that,
dude. Yeah. No, our Arcane definitely deserved to win this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Saurus still had some of the age at the pub. You know, I'm a man, a myth, a legend. You're a grandpa with depression, and you know, every battle is a battle of the ages, and battle. And then Saurus in the third, you're battling me for stories to tell your grandchildren tomorrow.
Yeah, right?
Funny.
right.
Very funny. Arcane sort of had some odd third stuff about talking about bombing buildings to justify for. I mean, the classic like you're American, so like extrapolate that to your politics, and somehow that's a personal.
Right. No, absolutely, and I really feel like the old jokes really worked against the Saurus. And here's the thing, as I said, Tom, I've been a huge Battle Rap Resume supporter and listen to your I listened to all 3 hours of your interview with the Saurus.
Oh, one of my favorite episodes ever. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's great. And so I know, like, going back listening to this, like, I know a little bit of backstory of what was happening. I know the Saurus was going through some like life issues at that time, and he wasn't able to like give the performance that he wanted to or whatever. I still think he's, you know, a little bit bitter about losing to Arcane because Thesaurus is a legend and Arcane is Arcane, you know. Yeah. But I do think that this was the right decision at the time for sure.
So Arcane takes it, and we push forward now to the next title match, which is January 2011 Blackout versus Bender.
This man is corny, tasteless, average, boring, basic, bland, and formulaic, vastly short of greatness. Stand before me shaking, shake the hand of your replacement. Think you can't ignore this blatant fact? Sadly, you're mistaken.
If y'all people thought I was gonna lose, let me snuff that misconception. I ain't coming here to battle, I came to teach this fucking bitch a lesson. I don't need a Buster Smith & Wesson to give his stomach indigestion. If you supposed to be a bender, I'm the fucking intervention.
And obviously R.I.P. Bender every time. I believe it's Bender's birthday today, actually. Time of us recording.
Oh, is it really?
I believe it is.
Wow.
I saw Avo posting about that. So yeah, I mean, this is a real standout battle from Bender. And you can also see the production values upping. This is a real leap forward, isn't it? You know, a giant step. And we have the interviews at the start, and, you know, Arcane talking about how everyone's saying he isn't top tier, but all his face is top tier. And Bender saying how he's better in pretty much every way, which is undeniable. Giant crowd. I love this battle, especially from Bender. I think this is some of his greatest rounds.
I absolutely agree. And what I think really stands out about this, what I love about it, is battles were still being judged at this point. So we had Bender coming in, who is 6-0, didn't even know what a loss felt like. And then you have Arcane, who's in a similar position. He had won his battles before he started in the Grand Prix, wins the Grand Prix, then wins the title match. The guy doesn't even know what it feels like to lose. And so to have two people who are in that position going head to head, knowing one of these guys is going to go home with their first loss ever, really ups the stakes for me. And I thought it was I thought it was great all the way around. And you know what? The first time I watched this battle, I didn't appreciate Bender and like what he was doing at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like at the time I'm like, oh, this guy's just rapping a lot of Maltese and whatever. But when I like go through the lyrics and like see what he's saying, I'm like, everyone's right. He is one of the best writers to ever do it. And man, we really took a huge loss a couple of years ago.
Completely, yeah. I mean, his material is ageless here. And one of the things you notice as well, especially comparing this to later clashes, let's say, Cortez versus Ice, which we'll get to, where Organic at the start of each round literally has to beg the crowd to be quiet. This giant crowd, much bigger crowd, are so attentive. They're hanging, even Arcane's bars, they're hanging on every word.
You know what? I thought Arcane actually won the first, and he won it, I thought, pretty clearly against Bender. Right. But Bender comes back, man, and it's in his second and his third. It's like these are the Benders that have made him the legend that he is, and he created like something that no one else can really duplicate. I mean, sure, everyone can do multis and they can stack them quickly if they wanted to, but no one can do them the way that Bender does. And Bender displayed that in this battle, and it's great to watch. It really, really is. What's also notable about this battle? It's 18 minutes long. Like the actual battle itself is 18 minutes. So that's quite a big difference than what we were talking about at the beginning. I mean, the very first one, Kid Twist, Bartone, 7.5 minutes. So here we're definitely getting into longer rounds here, which I think is appropriate for a title match.
Yeah, what you're saying as well about Bender multi-stacking, but it's very direct, which is what you need to be in a title match. And we'll get to the sketch Menace battle in a second. That's kind of, he doesn't really do that. He kind of flounders all about the place. But in the first, the whole shake the hand of your replacement section is crazy. And I always love charting the zeitgeist of the world through battles. So he references the Chilean mining disaster, which happened around the same time. I always loved that your battles have the replay value of a lottery ticket. Awesome one-liner,
amazing.
So amazing. And I mean, host-style the retention, like postpartum depression and braggadocious magnum opus and all that sort of stuff. And Arcane kind of fights back a little bit, gets personal. He mentions his best friend Jordan Kotler and reveals some stuff. Yeah, it was kind of an odd decision there.
That bothered me too, because it's like, all right, so your friend in high school at St. Catherine's said this, and you did that, and blah blah blah, and I guess it leads up to a punch, but there's nothing about it that can ever be verified, like, at all, and not like that's the first time that's ever happened in a battle rap, but it just seems really weird to be like going back to something, you were mean to your friend in high school, and I'm going to bring it up in a battle. Really? Come on, man. Is that the best angle we could take? I don't know. Yeah, especially in a title match, it just seems off.
Yeah, and then he sort of ties it into how Jonathan Bender was apparently some obscure basketball player.
Dude, no one knows who that is.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
no one knows who Jonathan Bender, who was almost a draft pick from Toronto. Whatever. You will never hang from these rafters. Cool, but no one knows who this guy is. No one knows who this guy is at St. Catherine's. No one knows who this basketball player is. So none of it means anything. Just like, okay, I guess.
Yeah. It would be like Pat doing a scheme in a title match, and Fork Farm is the punch, and people are like, who's that?
Like,
the construction's there, but it was slightly strained. And I mean, Bender just neutralizes that whole best friend idea. Yeah. He mentions him, he says he's my best friend, but he's never rapped in his life. And the way he's laughing, you can tell he means it. And it's a bit like, what are you talking about? Bender says that he studies Starkology in the third. I'm pretty sure that's a Ghostface Killer reference.
Oh, Starkology. Yeah. Because it says I study Starkologies, punk your Clark Wallabies. So, I keep wanting to call him Iron Man, but Ghostface was really into Wallabies back in the day. On his first album, he was all about. Dude, I want to say on his first album cover, he's like holding Wallabies. Yeah, Supreme Clientele. He's like holding Wallabies. I don't know what his deal was with Wallabies, but he loved it. I study Starkology, punk your Clark Wallabies. it's crazy that someone would even come up with that line and use it, you know. But this is what makes Bender great, is these kind of like obscure references, and I feel like Bender's one of those guys where it's like not everyone's going to get this line in the building, but the people who do are going to love it, you know. And that's all that like really matters. And it can be kind of fun to go back and kind of dig through and figure out some of these gems after you've watched it, or like while you're watching it.
Yeah, I mean, your Benders, your Souls, your Luxes, people like that, people that are built for rap genius, really, on that sort of level. And, you know, Arcane in the third, you know, goes for the gut, gets a bit more primitive, fat jokes in heavy supply. Some of them are quite funny, you know, flight distance, if he was stuck next to me on a plane, would it be the only time I'm concerned with flight distance? Lots of grabbing Bender's titties and stuff like that. But, you know, the golf in intellect is vast, isn't it? I think it's quite clear that Bender wins. But it's quite a brave decision for King of the Dot to go in a direction, because it's a very new direction with Bender, something very different to Hollohan and Kid Twist.
So I really, I love that you brought that up, because you're right. It is going... I feel like King of the Dot has put a lot of stake into Arcane. Now, obviously, that's blown up now. But, like, at that time, they were like, this is a guy who's kind of homegrown, a Canadian guy from, I want to say, Hamilton, who's, like, worked his way up the ranks. And this is our poster child for, like, if you work hard and you're good at what you do, you can become a champion. And they wanted him to keep doing it. But Bender is just Bender. And it's like, it's hard to bet against someone who's rhyming at the level that Bender's rhyming. Yeah. How are you gonna bet against Bender when he's like in his bag? And so I'm so glad that the judges got this one right and they picked Bender at the end of the day.
But Bender didn't hang on it for long. I mean, it was a split decision, I should say, in Bender's favour. But he went on to battle Sketch Menace.
Shit, if you even mention the word sports, the gym, or total fitness, he gets motion sickness. He'll start to lose focus. He'll go comatose in minutes. Not saying shit like if you poached your writtens. So when I put my hands around your throat and show no forgiveness till you start turning blue like Folsom Prison, you won't see him and his homie Loey doing baseball signals and blowing kisses.
I'm not here to call him a Nazi. I just hate what he does. He sets up for a cheap laugh. That's all he's capable of. He never respected this culture. He'll never understand it. We've all heard that in his voice from the first generic punch he landed. Talk shit about my team since 09 like you somebody special. Calling Pesh a faggot behind his back like you were up on his level. See, one thing I never did to make my claim for this belt was dick ride a bigger name to make a name for myself.
Now, I wasn't into battle rap at the time, so I wasn't really watching King of the Dot. I wasn't really familiar with the conversation, the gestalt, as it were. But it seems to me why didn't Bender battle Pat? Why didn't Bender battle Charron? Why did Bender battle the guy who was behind Hollohan going crazy? Like, why did he battle Sketch?
Yeah, no, that's such a good question. So I don't know the whole history of it, but there's a couple things I do know. One, I don't think Pat wanted it at that time, and I know he said why. I can't remember what it was, but I don't think Pat wanted it at the time. Charron, man, they were not pushing Charron. Like They really were trying to get away from this nerdy white boy image. And, you know, not that Sketch is like, you know, this super thug, you know, it's not like he's had ice. But, you know, Charron's so young and so skinny and so nerdy looking that, I mean, honestly, I'm going to get kind of conspiracy theory here. Okay. I mean, when Charron battled Arcane during the Grand Prix, Charron won. The crowd knew he won, but Arcane, you know, obviously came at the win. And there was such a backlash about it that Arcane actually brought it up in his title match against the Saurus. And he's just like, you know, just at least I'm battling a real man or whatever, because Charron's not, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of feel like King of the Dot loves Charron for what he is now, but back then, I mean, you do look at him and you're like, oh, this is the guy. They were afraid to have that guy as the face of the league, and I feel like Arcane was a better look for them, and Sketch Menace would have been a better look for them. So that's how they pass over Charron. That's how they pass over Pat. And they end up with Sketch Menace. Now, Sketch Menace, we look at now and we're like, oh, Sketch Menace. But back then, he was on a tear. He had just beat Dirtbag Dan, which was a very big deal at that time. Yeah. And I feel like his win over Dirtbag Dan is what got him this title match.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're just a victim of circumstance, aren't you? You can benefit off that, and the chips fell in his favour, and he was there ready to take it. Gully is now on the front line as a judge. He's been, from a judge. He's now there with Organic. There's quite a funny exchange where Organic turns to Bishop and says, "My co-host is now going to say something about a mirror." It's kind of he says Amir, and who's Amir? Bishop asks, which is quite witty. And Sketch is rocking the Bruce B. R.I.P. hat as well, who passed away March 28th, I believe, 2011. And, I mean, for me, this battle, again, as just a kind of guy who has a fucking Battle Rap podcast and likes the in-depth bars, I marvel at a lot of Bender's material, but it's just not really pinpointed on Sketch for the most part.
Yeah, I felt like Bender's first was fantastic. It's the best. It's the Bender that we all know and love and all that sort of stuff. Sketch came out and he starts to stumble. He's nervous. It's a big deal. We also have to give Sketch props. He did come into this battle 9-0. Crazy. The only loss he had ever had was the 2-on-2 where it was him and Nebula, and they were going against the Saurus and Illmac. So come on, I mean, who's not?
I don't even know who the fuck Nebula is. Like,
exactly. So I don't even know if we want to count that as a loss. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, of course you're gonna lose. Mm-hmm. So he's coming in, but he feels the pressure. I still feel like even though he starts with the stumble, this Bender takes him out pretty easily in this first round.
The first,
but the second round from Bender is not that great, and and Sketch has a great line where he's like, so check his website out. The domain name will say it all, flightdistance.net, because you'll need something to break your fall. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's great. And so he has, he's got more, drunk and fat jokes or whatever. But I mean, he definitely beat Bender in the first. What did you think about the third?
The third, I mean, he goes on a lot of, again, he's a bit more direct, him losing his breath during the schemes, and, him having this spot sort of given to him, and him not having to graft, which is a common theme of these sort of rounds. Chain of evolution coming into it as well. And, kind of him having that idea that, a lot of people maybe are accusing Geechee Gotti of currently, where, if anyone else was to write this line, they would hate it, but because Bender writes it, and that again can change your perspective on the whole battle, and you think back and you're like, oh, hang on, the second from Bender didn't really have that much, where he's talking about what's the difference between Persian and Arabian or something like that. Not to say that Bender's first wasn't good, and I really like the idea in Bender's first of I would list off the list of battlers more deserving, but there's only 1 minute 45 left in the round,
right? Which is great.
Really fun. And he has the awesome one-liners, the prepared for the fall like a hay fever shot, and dope setups like sting operations, which is like a legit perfect bar, like no syllable, there's no fat on that bar, it's not wasted. But I mean, Sketch was never going to be able to outright Bender, so he just had to kind of change your thought process towards Bender, and he succeeded in that, and 4-1 is the decision in his favor,
which is pretty surprising.
Really surprising
considering. And I don't know if you ever saw the tribute to Bender that Watch did.
But yes, like 7 hours, right? It's crazy good.
It's 7 hours, but Sketch is there, and it's kind of crazy because they watched this battle, and poor Sketch, man, I feel bad for he's essentially like there watching his own battle against Bender and apologizing for winning. You know what I mean? He's just like, sorry, I'm not as good as Bender, but I won, so my bad. But Bender is held at like such a high level and such esteem, whereas Sketch, isn't up there. And so it's kind of funny, like looking back at it like that. But Sketch did honestly win this battle. I feel like they actually got it right, and it feels weird to say that.
It does.
But yeah, I do feel like Sketch actually won this battle.
Yeah, I mean, he seems perplexed when everyone's gripping him, when you know it's announced and everyone's going mad in the room. And it's cool to see that Illmac was the only one who voted in Bender's favour, purely on a sort of quality level. And Sketch in the post-interview is mad humble as well, and he speaks about listening to Bender's mixtape and being such a fucking fan.
Yeah, that's
and Bender
dope. That's so dope.
is really cool as well. And Sketch has free Hollohan at that time, so, that gives you an idea what was going on. But
sure.
It's unfortunate because I think there would Bender versus Porich I would have liked to have seen next. I think that would have been a bit more entertaining.
That would have been dope.
Sketch versus Porich. But that's just what happens. And it's kind of like you're having debatables with Bill Collector. It's like you lost to Sketch Menace. All the love to Sketch. A lot of the UK guys, we sort of hate Sketch for the whole Dizaster, whatever sort of thing. But it's not Sketch's fault. And Sketch is a good battler and does a lot of good stuff for the scene. Seems like a really cool guy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Put on for Vancouver and for sure. No, I think Bender's third round. He's starting off with a choke, and it's hard to vote for a guy who ends up choking. And I really feel like that was the big deciding factor in this battle. So, but yes, shout out to Sketch. He did really good in it.
So we go on now to Blackout 2. This was January 21st versus Porich.
How about this time you just try and not forget your rhymes? So step aside, you're getting left behind. You're coming out of pocket and getting booked for your offensive lines and running for safety now that you've switched to the defensive side. I already murdered you once 2 years ago. What makes you think that I won't dead this guy? You can call me Michael Vick. I'm here to get rich for the second time.
And what's so fresh about using company money to buy organic birthday trips to host your event? I'm surprised you haven't been fired from the business. Sketch is wasting paper. The irony's delicious. Organic said, look, I'll introduce the dope MCs as long as you don't stand close to me.
Now, they had already battled in 2009, which is, that's happening, for example, with the new title match where Chilla and Real Deal already battled. Have you seen this battle? Have you actually seen the original? I don't remember.
I never saw it, but I knew that it was a rematch, and it's their first rematch for the chain. I think they battled 2 years earlier, and it's kind of wild. But I mean, you look at this battle now, so it's got 165,000 views, which isn't very much, especially
comparatively.
It's been out for seven. Yeah, it's been out 7.5 years. It's not very, but you see the names and you're like, oh, this is going to be terrible. But at that time, I mean, these guys were really killing it. I mean, Porich did the WRCs with Kid Twist, came to KOTD, did a ton of battles, did the Grand Prix, the 2-on-2, and the freestyle competitions. I mean, KOTD, he had beat, quote unquote, beat Illmac and Thesaurus for the 2-on-2.
With
so
Diaz.
King of the Dot was really pushing him.
Yeah.
Yes, with Diaz, right? So King of the Dot's really pushing him. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my God.
If no one's seen that, where Saurus starts the fight, and they're just reacting, but they're the ones pulled away and treated as the instigators. It's really funny.
Yeah. Right. I've heard Thesaurus talk about it, and he kind of just laughs. He's like, we're undefeated. Oh, wait. No, we're not. We lost to Rich and Diaz, like he knows what a joke it is. And I feel like that battle is one of the crowning reasons why people don't like judge battles. But those sort of things happen. I think you just kind of got to know every once in a while bad decisions are going to be made. And you know what? I feel like a bad decision was made in this one, honestly.
Yeah.
It's close, but I actually edged this battle to Sketch Menace. But whatever. But yes, 15. Now we're up to 15-minute battles. And what's kind of amazing about this, Porich was doing international opponents. Again, King of the Dots really pushing him. He'd already battled Sensa and O'Shea and big grind time names like Soulcon and Illusion Z. So he's definitely the veteran here, and Sketch comes in and did okay. but I feel like he did better than Porich's first round. I feel like Porich wasn't really doing much. And honestly, Porich's in the first round, Porich's whole angle is about you haven't battled in 7 months. Like, what a terrible person you are, you know?
Yeah.
I'm out here battling every other week, and you haven't battled in 7 months. And, like, now it's like, dude, we have people like Mook who haven't battled in, like, 4 years, you know? You know what I mean? Like, it's a different time, man. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Porich does take this, but for me, his energy stands out, and I think it's quite infectious. Sure. And, you know, this is Blackout 2. People most remember this probably for Cortez versus Hollohan. Raekwon is there, which is still blows my mind. I'm sure he couldn't fucking wait to see Sketch Menace versus Porich. But he does laugh at Porich's slogan, which is pretty cool. And if you remember, Porich has like a fucking PDF of shout outs from his phone. Like, he has the most shout outs in a battle I've ever seen. He has like 20 shout outs to get through. That guy from Epic Mealtime is there as well, who was around King of the Dark at the time. I don't know what happened to that guy. I'd like to interview that guy as well, but purely about his battle rap, because he seemed to be quite a lot of battles. Like, he seemed to be down with the cause.
Yeah. At that time, he was all over it. Yeah, he was in all those battles. And what's kind of funny about Raekwon being here, so we watch him. So we know Raekwon's there for Cortez versus Hollohan, which is, you know, very
classic,
harsh about the whole Bruce B thing.
Yeah.
But then so is this battle, because Porich goes at Sketch Menace about
in the
Bruce
second,
B again.
Bruce B hated you.
Yeah, in the second.
He died to get away from you.
Remember when the guy hated you? He died to get away from you. Yeah. Oh my God.
Raw.
It you know what? And I give Porich that round because that was so risky. That was so risky to be doing something like that. And when he started going down that avenue, you could see the people in the crowd being like, oh my God, is he really doing this? Oh God. Yeah. And then he just kept going. And eventually he ends up winning over the crowd. But man, it was super risky for him. And I can't imagine him writing this and being like, I don't know how the crowd's going to react, because they could get very pissed at me very easily.
It was reckless.
So, that's exactly it. It was reckless. And I kind of give him props for doing that, because it's so gutsy of a move to actually take. So, yeah,
he takes that round.
Give it to Poe.
He takes that round. I mean, he takes the first as well for me personally. I like the end to the first. Sure. I'm eviscerating this vulture. I'm battling Calgary tomorrow. If you can freestyle right now, we can start articulating an offer. Come on, it's the easiest way to participate in the culture. So it's that classic, you know, you're not a real MC sort of idea. And sometimes Sketch writes these bars that mathematically this works as a bar, as a punch, but in effect it's so meh, where he's like, I'm watching a square with no bars, like a theatrical version. I'm like, I mean, logically I get that, but that doesn't really have anything for me. But, you know, Poe just say what you want about Porich. Again, I've not reached out to Porich. Would love to get Porich on the show. He has amazing projection. Like, his voice booms out. Like, Sketch is a whisper in comparison.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like that's been used against Porich because, you know, it's like, what? It's like a pirate or whatever. It's like, but he does what he does, and he loves battle rap. He loves doing it, and he's good in his lane. He's good doing what he's the best Porich that he can be. He is that drunk guy who is the roofer, who is, you know, the hockey player, and he wears that with pride. He is where's he from?
Porich, Calgary?
Whippy.
Whippy. Of course, Whippy is the city.
Whippy is the city. Whippy is the
Dig
city.
deep in your bed.
Yeah. Thank you. I couldn't believe I couldn't remember that. So he's from Whippy, and he just wears that, like, he has such pride in that. He's like, this is the kind of guy I am, and just deal with it. And I give him a lot of credit for that, because you see so many other people just trying to be someone else, and he's just like, no, I am this guy. I'm the hockey skater, roofer, battle rapper. Boom.
And Sketch goes at Whitby in the second, And, you know, as a huge fan of Neil Young, I appreciated a Canadian Neil Young bar. Your father made you Neil Young down by the river, which is slightly garbled, but very creative. Organic is an enabler, giving this drunk a shot he doesn't need. And, you know, stop boring everyone, Porich yells in the third. Kind of over sketches around there. You know, sketches lame actions with events, naming his event Frostbite, it's cold, decaying, and needs amputation. I mean, it's okay, it's there. And
you know, No. Go for it. I was just gonna say how Organic's brother, I don't know his real name, but they call him Reverend. You can see him yawning multiple times in this battle.
Oh right.
And you know, like, yeah, you know. Part of it is like, okay, you know, I get it. The battle may not be like super engaging, but the other part is like that you have to remember is like this is probably happening like 2:00 in the morning, and they've just had 7 battles before this. I mean, people have been on their feet for 10 hours straight, you know. So I kind of get it, but yes. I can see why Porich is like, quit being so boring.
Yeah, yeah. Organic's brother, by the way, looks like the most Canadian guy ever. Like, he just has that visage to me. And, you know, Poe ends quite succinctly on some real shit. Who would you rather have a beer with? And it's, you know, it's kind of hard to deny that.
Such a great line.
Great line. He takes the victory. He has an awesome celebration. You know, all of his guys, he's going mad. Whitby is the city. Raekwon embraces him as well. And you know, it's a nice moment. And in the judging as well, I don't know how long this guy was in employment, but one of the people they speak to, I don't know if you watched it, King of the Dot's official barber is spoken to.
Oh my God, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, they have an official barber.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's amazing.
Porich takes it. Porich snatches it from Sketch Menace. We push on to the next title match. I'd never seen this before. I think this is one of the most underviewed title matches.
No.
This is a bad battle.
It is.
Straight up. Porich versus PH, Tim.
Go home every night and kiss her on her pumpkin face. And since you carved them yourself, she could be any fucking shape. What a babe. Got mad shots in her glove. Such an incredible goalie. If they don't give that slut the Vezina trophy, then Gary Bettman can blow me. They always dissing me because I'm older guy, get busy beat. I'm on overdrive, you ain't killing me. I'm known to ride, you get hit with the Billy D called 45. Any money back after he drinks, he can barely walk 10 feet, dragging his steps, walking like how Asian men see. I know that's a little racist, please forgive me. No disrespect to Dumbfounded, Psycho, and Jinder MC, because those is the homies, and I know what you're thinking, but true story though, when Rich met Jin, he tried to drink him.
So it's 115,000 views, the least viewed title match of all time. 14 minutes long. It was at an event called Outbreak.
That's right.
Which is, I want to say, the first time. Okay, so we had Bender and Sketch Menace at Doomsday, but if you go back one more, you have Arcane versus Bender. From Arcane versus Bender, basically until now, there's only like 3 battles that aren't at World Dom or Blackout, and this is one of them. This is Outbreak. I'm not even familiar with that card or anyone who's on it. I'm not sure what happened there. But Porich comes on and against PH. And here's what's crazy. Porich had 24 battles on KOTD before he battled Sketch Menace for the chain. PH had 5 battles on KOTD before he got a title shot, which isn't very much. But to be fair, he beat the Saurus in a #1 contenders match right before this, and PH had never lost on King of the Dot. But this is still the least viewed title match, and it's not surprising because it's not very good, and it gets hard to watch at the end of it, and especially with someone who you want to revere and respect, it's hard to see PH end the way that he did in this battle.
I don't want to be too disrespectful, but I don't know how great of a battle rapper PH really was.
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah, I mean, he has a battle on URL against Dirtbag Dan, and it is literally the most down...
Yeah.
Whoa, shoot. No, I learned this from watching you.
Yeah.
I was about to tell you something that you taught me.
Most disliked.
Jeez,
yeah.
All right. So So that's what's so crazy, man. I mean, but yes, he's done a lot, and he did a lot for grind time, and he brought, another thing I learned from you, he brought Swave Sever, into the game and all that sort of stuff. So he has done a lot of stuff behind the scenes. He had a great battle against Dumbfound, a great battle against Dizaster. I mean, he definitely deserves his respect, but yeah, this battle was not it.
No. And there's a cool advert at the start for the Ustream website as a way to watch battles live. And consider that this is July 2012, so this is way before Watch Battle Live. And I'm sure Avo was behind Ustream, but Ustream, from what I gather, I never really paid for the pay-per-view at this time, was a piece of shit, and it kept going down.
Right.
And versus DNA, King of the Dot Vendetta, bits will go down longer than the Ustream connection, and stuff like that. And Poe has a lot of respect and reverence, and it's cool to see in the closing interview after his victory that he talks about, PH's tape was one of the things that he mainly bumped, Orange Moon over Brooklyn, and when he was at university in Ottawa, and, he has such, respect for this guy and that sort of stuff. But, there's some nice stuff from PH sometimes, but then there's a lot of recycled stuff. So we get, his bartender, which I've kind of heard before. He has an Ogmios bar before I think Ogmios said it, so props to him. Surprise a rapper with my gift like Nardwar. Sick bar.
Dude,
Sick
I love a Nardwar bar.
I love
that's incredible. That's incredible.
Someone on YouTube years ago called me the Nardwar of battle rap. And I think that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, to be honest.
Dude, you are. You absolutely are. Dude, that's incredible. I mean, Nardwar is like, he's the GOAT at interviewing. I mean, no one's Nardwar will interview your 4th grade teacher and find out what was the best drawing you made so that he can bring it up in an interview. It's incredible. Yeah. The guy does his research. So yeah. That's dope that anyone would even bring that up in a battle. Yeah. And it's a testament to the lengths that battlers will go to come up with a new line,
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, they both aren't great here. It's really who's less awful, and PH kind of breaks the cardinal rule of scheming. He does a fantastic 4 scheme. It's like we've heard millions of these. You can't do anything new with it.
But you know what? One thing I will give them credit for. The first round, they both do a bar about Loki, and I don't know what. Wait, well, maybe when was this? Was 2012?
Yeah, no, Avengers would have been out. Yeah, I think just.
Oh, okay, would have, because this was low-key bars we've heard a million times, but I was like, oh, this is even before Avengers, but no, maybe not. Okay, so but they do a Game of Thrones reference, so I'll give them a little bit of credit for that. There weren't a lot of those at that time. It wasn't what it is today.
Poe does loads of Game of Thrones references.
Yeah, he really did. And what, Soul's throwing some in there.
Oh, yeah, Soul.
I've heard Caustic do some too, but yeah. But I mean, Pumpkinhead's third is tough, man. Painful. It's tough. He only gets 10, 12 bars in, and then he starts freestyling, and the crowd's just and then it's over.
It is.
I mean, Poe deserved to win, but like you said, it's not because he was the better man. He wasn't as bad. It's terrible to say, man, but
it is. And again, no disrespect to PH at all, but I'm just thinking of maybe PH versus for example, where just completely outclasses him. And did PH battle Arcane at World Dom 2? He battled someone at World Dom 2. I'm trying to remember who exactly it was.
I think it might have been Arcane. I'm not sure.
Not sure. But yeah, this battle happened. Again, a bit of a mysterious pick. Okay, he beat Saurus for a contenders match or something like that. But I don't know why we couldn't have got Porich versus Charron, for example. Maybe that happened before, I'm not sure. Again, but that should have went down. So Porich retains the title. We push on to World Dom 3 versus Dizaster.
Sorry, bro! True story.
sorry, bro. Your bitch gave my bro ham dome with no hands like a cordless. And if it was me, I would be smashing that whole chick, then I'm cracking her whole rib. You want to talk about mattresses? I'll fuck her till the mattress is torn in the vaginal hole ribs. I'll beat that pussy down to the point she pulls out a notepad and she forfeits.
You fucking weird ass. You cry during police raids even when they don't throw tear gas. You're not a terrorist with an A-bomb. Around your way, the guns don't stay drawn. No one on the block gets Trayvon. You out in L.A. where it's sunny all day long. You should facepalm. Your hood pass ain't strong just because you walk the dogs for Akon and water the plants when Drake's gone.
Of course, Diz comes into the fold. Now, this is one of the best looking events ever. I cannot get across how beautiful these battles look. And the shirt that Gully is wearing, the World Dom Free shirt, I dream of that shirt. I love the design of that, the red globe on the white tee. Whenever I watch these battles, I just salivate over that. I think it looks great. I'm in Wonderland, Diz shouts. I mean, huge opponent for huge opponent for Porich. His biggest to date.
And here's what's so wild about this is because between every single title match, you have 5.5 to 6 weeks. Like almost every single one, the 9 previous to this one. So you have Porich going up against Dizaster, who's the biggest person to ever won a title match. He had 6 weeks. And the other crazy thing about it is we were all talking about the lengths of these battles, right? So Porich versus PH, granted there's a choke in there, it's 14 minutes. But Sketch Menace versus Porich, it's 15 minutes, and that's just a regular battle. Now you got Porich versus Dizaster, it's 36 minutes long. And you would think, just off of saying this, that it's going to be Dizaster wrapping 30 of those minutes, right?
Yeah.
And Porich doing 6 of them. But it's not. Like, they were both pretty equal as far as length. So Porich wrote his ass off in those 6 weeks since his last title match. And he did really good. And I know that this is a very debatable battle. I've heard a lot of people say that they think Porich actually won. I still have Dizaster, but damn, it's a lot closer than I remembered.
Yeah, it is. And, again, I do love Diz, and obviously technically he's one of the most accomplished battlers ever, but he's not the best dismantler of his opponents, really. He's like an incredibly technical guitar player who will just wank off a solo for 20 minutes. And if you're in that world, you could get there. But, your Dave Gilmours, your Mark Knopflers, they can say more with 2 notes. And he just doesn't really go into that direction, And, Diz shows off and Diz works for the King of the Dot crowd. And, King of the Dot crowds at that point are distracted by multis like cavemen and fire. If Diz goes into that bag, then they are just going to go mental for it. And, he talks about King of the Dot trying to ruin their image in the second by having him as a champ and how he only has 800 followers on Twitter, Porich, and he gets 400 a week and that sort of idea. And, it is an exhibition of his technique. And Poe fights and fights and fights, but kind of similarly to a battle we're going to get to, Arcane versus Pat Stay, it felt like the winner was decided before Organic says battler to my left.
I can absolutely see that. It would have been really hard to pick Porich over Dizaster, who is, you have to remember at this time, people are just worshiping Dizaster. Like, he is like the guy who he's such a legend. People are saying in other battles, you love Dizaster so much, you have a poster of him on your wall. Like, that's like an actual thing that people would say to each other in other battles, And we've heard this so many times about, like, you would do anything. You would kill your mom to get a battle with Dizaster. That's how much people love Dizaster and how respected he was. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he's coming to King of the Dot, wanting a title match, I don't know, man. He would have had to have choked all 3 rounds. Yeah. For Porich to keep the title for sure.
Yeah, not to say that Diz doesn't have funny stuff here. He talks about Whitney like Sketch Diz. Everyone looks like Joe Cutter. The population is so low. The phone number is actually 4 numbers. And Diz is an inventive, creative guy. I'm not going to take anything away from him on that part, but it's just. I don't know. Like, it's kind of, it was on a platter for him, and he just needed to flex his muscles, really, to take it. And there's lots of technically impressive plays, but ultimately, it's a little bit more derivative. Like, let's hark back to Hollohan and Twist. Like, there were way more impactful haymakers in that battle than the 40 minutes of this one. Yeah,
and what I really was impressed with, going back to this, how good Porich really was, because he had so much more material that he had to write, and in such a short period of time, and he was really, really solid. He really, really was. I was impressed. I think he knew what he was up against, and he rose to the occasion. Now, obviously it didn't work out in his favor, but I don't think we should shortchange him for the work that he did here. He made this debatable, and that's really incredible.
It really is, and one of the things that is so cool to see is to see Yunnan in the crowd. Yunnan had battled HFK. Yunnan judges it as well. There was a few DF guys. I'm pretty sure Definition was there. I can't remember exactly who he battled at World Dom 3.
Yes.
But, I think he battled at all the World Doms, by this point.
He did.
But yeah, I mean, it goes without saying that King of the Dot obviously wanted Diz to be their champ, same way that Saurus may be over Arcane. It just made sense to have him as the vanguard at the front of the sail. And, Diz does it. And I want to say as well, this battle also has one of the greatest thumbnails ever. Like, Diz, is leaned over, screaming. He looks like he's ready to eject off the earth. Like, it's really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's, Porich is drinking a beer.
Yeah.
It encapsulates the both of them,
Yeah. And Diz references cannabis in the third as well, which is nice. And, more likely that a radio station will play one of his songs than Poe will win and all that sort of stuff. And, Poe obviously still battles regularly on the, lower Canadian leagues and stuff. But this was really his peak, wasn't it, in terms of renown? He sort of faded into mild obscurity post this.
Yeah, so he had a couple battles after this.
Yeah, he still had some.
100 bullets, and
I remember that.
On the main stage. Yeah, so I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was Blackout 3 or 4, but he battled 100 bullets and he choked bad, and he ended up going down to the GZs and his home league, Capital something league.
Yeah,
and he did that for 4 years until he battled A-Ward, and. A-Ward, I thought he was great, man.
He was good, yeah. He was really good in A-Ward. Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to get him on the show from that point, because, I was really quite surprised. Yeah, I mean, he battled a few people post that. He battled Uno, battled Sunny Bamboo.
Sure.
He was on the ground zero of World Dom 5, which is crazy that he went that low. Battled Bonnie as well. Oh, he battled Bobby Rex recently.
Yeah,
just
recently. That's right. Yeah, just this year. Shouts out to him, because you know what? It's got to be a knock to the ego to be, a title chain holder, and then one who defends the title, who's one of 4 people in King of the Dot history to ever defend the title, and then be bumped down to the GZ leagues and stay there for years, and then try to raise yourself back up. Because I feel like a lot of people would be like, no, I'm a champion. I'm not going down to the GZs. No, screw you. And they just would stop battling or whatever. And Porich he loves it, man. He just keeps going at it. So props to him, man.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see that in any other form. You would never see, I don't know, a World Cup winner in football or soccer, go down to that level, or go down to the combat. I'm trying to think of my American sports terms. I don't really know. The D-League? Is that an expression? Yeah, the D-League.
Yeah, sure.
I think I know. I know all my. I've said this before on the show. I know all my basketball knowledge from fucking battle rap. That's the only reason I know about. That's the only reason I know about the flu game and fucking Steph Curry and all this sort of stuff.
I'm the exact same way. That's the only reason I know anything about basketball. I don't watch basketball at all. Yeah. I just know who's popular through battle rap.
Exactly. And when people have their numbers to the back, X player, and that's how I've learned surnames and stuff like that.
All I know.
So we get to the most infamous battle of these 21 battles. This is Arcane versus Diz. This is Blackout 3.
I don't give a fuck if you guys think Arcane is killing it. You know why? Because I woke up today and wrote my own shit. I know. That shit is amazing, isn't it?
putting your own pen to the page and inking it. That look on your face as you come up with the phrase and think of it like, oh my God, I can't believe my brain just did this shit. I know, Arcane, that feeling is amazing, isn't it?
No furniture in his place, so his dad got him a house so he could sit on Twitter all day and rap off at the mouth. But Diz was never that hot. He just pretend he's the nicest. Well, I'm a cold-blooded killer. I leave my enemies lifeless. This verse is just a testament to how pathetic your life is. You're just a spoiled, rotten Arab American going through an identity crisis.
This is 900,000 views, 4,700 dislikes. Drizzy Drake in the cut, which is fucking crazy that Drake's there. It still blows my mind to see Drake there. Huge crowd. Insane crowd. I mean, compare this to, say, like a Rone vs. Ice crowd just a few years later, and it's dissipated to a disappointing amount. Now, what are your thoughts in general on this battle? Is this the equivalent of a sportsman using steroids and they should just be banned? Can you fight your way out of a hole? Is Diz right? Because, you know, for people who aren't aware, I mean, surely you've been living under a rock if you don't know where this. Diz reveals in this battle that Arcane has paid through PayPal statements to Caustic 4 bars that got recycled at 4th birthday weekend. I remember watching a video many years ago that played Arcane's bars next to Caustic's Don't Flop bars, and they were the same. I think it was like the no bush and a black guy lives in it now.
Yes.
Probably the most famous recipient of that. So yeah, Diz, proves it. We don't ever annoyingly, not exactly Avo's fault, but we don't annoyingly hang on what Diz is showing the cameras. You can only kind of half see it. But
sure.
What are your thoughts in general on this beautiful debacle of a battle?
It's so hard to watch, man. For me, because I'm a Dizaster fan, and Dizaster caught someone red-handed. He's like the police, being like, I caught a thief. And you watch the thief get away with it. Now, what's terrible about it and what makes it harder is, like, Arcane was just so much better than Dizaster in this battle. And I feel like Arcane should have won. And I'm kind of glad that he did, because Dizaster, he had all the ammunition, but he had nothing else. I think of it like this. Like, okay, think of two battlers. I'm just going to pick two random, Chilla Jones and Soul. I don't know. So they're talking to each other, and Soul's like, oh, yeah, did you hear, B Magic's bought some rounds or whatever? And Dizaster interjects himself in that conversation and said, well, if I were to ever battle B Magic, I would use all 3 rounds, talking about how despicable that is. And Dizaster's the kind of guy who would say something like that and then actually do it. And that's what we actually see here. He's like someone who's just like so ingrained in this culture and so against ghostwriting that he can't fathom the idea that someone else could do that and win. And he just can't think about anything else against Arcane besides the fact that he bought bars. And I get it from Diz's perspective, but from the viewer's perspective, it gets old really fast. And 3 rounds of it is just like, by the 3rd, you're like, again? We're still talking again? This is still this? And at the same time, Arcane knows he's battling one of maybe the most dangerous battler on the planet at that time. And Arcane comes with 3 rounds of what he should be against an opponent like Dizaster. And I felt like he deserved it. I really do. You watch Dizaster self-destruct in the 2nd round. He gets booed so bad he has to stop. He starts his 3rd round with a terrible rebuttal and starts getting booed again there. But he continues on and ends up having a great 3rd round. But still, at that point, Arcane had already won. What did you think about it, Tom?
I just think Dizaster went the completely wrong way about it. Like, you've got to pace your rounds like, almost like a live concert. And Diz is effectively playing the same song over and over and over again until the whole audience gets bored of it. To me, all the information, all the PayPal statements, all the revelations, pepper that maybe through your 1st and 2nd, and then go for the kill shot 3rd, do a 10-minute 3rd, breaking it all down, bringing out all the footnotes, bringing out all the screenshots, that sort of stuff, really hammering it in. And Diz, I think he was very excited, really. He thought, oh yeah, there's no way I can lose in this position. I'm not trying to body shame anyone. I don't have a body to be proud of, but Like Diz doesn't like compared to say like your sweaty like hoodie Pat Stay Diz looks a little bloated in this battle. Like his mind's kind of all over the place, and like he doesn't really seem as together. He still has a few punches around the idea, like in the second. You know, Arcane in the club with Drake, and Drake getting pissed off because Arcane
buying the bars out.
Yeah. And, you know that works.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is him just going on and on and on about this and that and Caustic and blah blah blah, and you know the crowd boo him quite a bit actually throughout.
So apparently there's a part where he takes a beer and throws it in the crowd and hits some girl in the head.
Oh shit.
That's all edited out, but it sounds like Dizaster just lost his mind. And it kind of reminds me of right before he battled T-Rex, they were interviewing T-Rex of like, are you afraid to battle Dizaster? And he's like, dude, Dizaster can be so distracted. It's like someone can turn out a light and it's over for Dizaster because, he's just like lost his composure about, a light switch being flipped. And it's like, this is what you actually see. Dizaster can be so great when he's focused and he's got the crowd behind him. This is what happens when you see him with a crowd not giving him the reaction that he wants and just self-destructing. I don't know if I've seen someone self-destruct like this besides Jack Boy Main against John Don.
Oh man, yeah, good example. Yeah, and I mean in Arcane second as well, gets really rowdy. Math has to get involved. Diz shouts the N-word, which is really ugly.
I didn't even know that. Until I watched it again, I was like, oh my god.
Me too. Yeah, I didn't notice that until then. I mean, Organic comes in really professional, the soothing bomb, and there's lots of like funny bits where Diz like feigns masturbation and that sort of stuff. And and Diz, if you just constructed your bars around Arcane stealing a bit more succinctly, then it would have worked. Like, I liked his third bar in the third Arc Welder. You hide behind your mask. The only reason you got Spark because of the bars you steal. It's nice.
That is so amazing. That is an amazing little scheme he just made right there. And I remember the crowd reacted and gave him the props that he deserved for that. But like, those are the sort of things. But like, you can't try to do 3 rounds of that. You know what I mean? And because every line was about something like that. Whereas Arcane just switched it up and gave people different things to kind of appreciate. But yeah, I think we're both in agreement. Dizaster just felt like he had a cheat code and used it, and he was like, well, there's no way I'm going to lose once I show him this, and I can just say whatever, and that's not the case.
Yeah, it just, like, a lot of us don't adhere to that, well, especially the audience don't really adhere to that moral code, and a lot of the people in the audience at the back couldn't really see these scraps of paper he's throwing about. It wasn't like it was blown up on screen. It wasn't like, it was like Lux Calico. They weren't getting a giant blown up version of it or whatever that everyone could interrogate. It was just something, it was your word against his, and we're so used to people lying in battles with fake personals.
Exactly.
Like, is this true? Who is Caustic? Can you buy bars? No one's really understanding. And, Arcane still has the Arcane-y stuff. Your memory's photographic, but your style's underdeveloped and overexposed, which isn't bad. And, Arcane wins. He gives a little speech with his novelty check in his hand. And, Drake is still there. And what the fuck must Drake have been like? I love that Drake loves King of the Dart, but it's like, this wasn't the match that Organic probably wanted Drake to watch as representative of the league.
Probably the last, because I mean, you see him being like, "Oh Jesus," like a bunch of times, like kind of shaking his head, and not necessarily like at Dizaster, but I mean, this should have been an easy body bag for Dizaster, and I think it's pretty well known that Drake loves Dizaster. I mean, that's why he was brought out for his birthday and everything like that. So I think Drake's like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch Dizaster just kill this dude." And to watch it just explode is, it's another layer of like uncomfortability where you're like uncomfortable for Drake,
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, I mean, Raekwon's one thing, but Drake is like 7 echelons above. Like, I don't think there's ever been a battler of his stature that's been right there. You know, not like your, you know, Diddy and stuff on the balcony above, like, you know, right in the fire pit.
Right.
But yeah, Arcane takes.
And he's from Canada.
Yeah.
He's a Canadian hero. You know.
Yeah. No, and I you know, I've seen some screenshots recently of Drake speaking to like Twerk on Instagram and shit like that. And you know, he's still got his finger on the pulse, which is absolutely brilliant. So we push forward now. World Dom 4. Now I remember this is Pat Stay versus Arcane.
You know who you remind me of? Scarface. You fucking boss. When you meet him, makes your heart race. He'll give you that hard shake, your fucking arm breaks. Thug life. You know how he got here? Car chase.
So that's why I ain't stepping this ring to talk about those weapons I bring. Nah, this a chess game. Y'all just pawns in the rest of my scheme. Your white knight can only take the L. If you check what I mean, we all seen him make crooked moves, dodging Bishop, trying to get to the king.
I bought a King of the Dot t-shirt, a red King of the Dot t-shirt 3 or 4 years ago, and King of the Dot are very generous with their merch. So you buy one thing, you get 5 things. And I got given an iPhone World Dom 4 case that I had on my phone for years.
Way.
And
that's amazing.
And you know, this was the Pat versus Arcane card, so I had Pat Stay versus Arcane on the back of my phone, and I'd always see that. This is World Dom 4, as they say. This is just a shade under 600k. Now, look, you know, everyone knew that Diz was going to beat Poe, but maybe there were a few doubters. I don't like. You know, it was just fucking clear. It was etched in stone that Pat would beat Arcane, both for what had gone before, and also because Pat was just, he was the heir apparent. He was the king of the dot, and he kind of always will be, regardless of who wins the title since.
Yes, and I'm sure this is probably the same with like Tony D and Don't Flop.
I think more O'Shea, to be honest with you, but yeah.
Oh, okay. So. But what's so amazing about this is like this title match is the #1 reason why I'm glad Arcane beat Dizaster, because if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have had Paste versus Arcane, which is probably my second favorite title match of all time, and I love this battle. Yeah. And I personally think Pat Stay's first is the best round I probably ever heard out of any battler in any battle. It is just, I don't know how you could possibly beat this round. He has everything. He comes, dude, Arcane. That's a hard name. I mean, everyone knows, and it just keeps going, and it's just, he just kills him. And like the whole first scheme of like, you know who you remind me of? Scarface. You fucking boss, when you meet him, makes your heart race. He give you that hard shake, your fucking arm breaks. Thug life. You know how he got here? Car chase. Oh my god. Like all that is just amazing. And he just keeps going. And he breaks down Arcane so well. Like so well. And the crowd is dying. They are on top of literally every single line Paste says. They are cheering their hearts up. I think it's just an unbeatable round. I really, really do. I mean, and so Arcane's first is good, but no one's going to beat that first.
No. I mean, like I remembered seeing this, like this battle. This reminds me of how old I am, because I remember this battle coming out and leaving for like I remember the morning I was going back to university, so I was like 20 or something like that, and you know, now like 6 years have gone by, and I remember watching it at the time and feeling like, oh fuck, Arcane's getting no reaction. He does actually get quite a lot of reaction through the battle. Like the crowd are quite partial.
Yeah, which was kind of surprising. I mean, again, you know, Dizaster says in the next battle against Paste, he's like, I handed you a dead body. And in a way, he's right. You know, this should have been so overwhelming that, like, you would think everyone would cheer for Pat and just boo Arcane. But Arcane actually got a lot of love. And it actually, I'm glad, because it helped make the battle what it is, which is, I think, honestly, I think it's a fantastic battle. I think Arcane did really, really well.
And I'm glad you highlighted the
no
first.
one's beating Pat Stay.
No, but you're right. That first.
Yes.
That swaggy Pat, after each punch, he's like twirling around and like soaking it up. And if you want me to represent this country, make some noise. Can't win this shit. And he's mad right now, trying to log into PayPal so bad right now.
So bad right now. Oh, wish he had the mobile app so bad right now. Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it is classic Pat. Like, I feel like if someone said, show me one round of Pat Stay, like that would be the round that I would show them, because I'm just like, this encompasses who this guy is, and it's he's at the top of the game right now, and even lines where there's a line later in the battle where you were kind of talking about it with like Ichigati. So he's like talking about like the math thing, and he said, now I know this geometry rap's probably whack and I sound like a huge lame bro, but come on, you gotta admit, to a certain degree, it's a cute angle, like a cute angle cute. Dude, I swear to God, if anyone else said that, they would have been booed.
If John said
lost their
mind.
Yes. Oh my God. They would have ran him out of the building, right? But like Pat said it, and hey, I'm not above it. Like, I was like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? And it just shows you how much of like the charisma and presence and all that sort of stuff, the way you deliver your stuff, how much impact that actually has. Because you have some PG or GZ rappers say that, and I'm going to groan. I will audibly groan.
Definitely.
But Pat Stay says it, and I'm like, that's amazing. How clever. How did he come up with that?
Yeah.
It's so wild.
Yeah, we see like maturation of Pat as he assumes the title mantle. A lot of Pat's rounds is regretful Pat looking back on his past, not being proud of that. He touches on the Coke cans and, mentions Hollohan and stuff like that. And, we'll get to the Charron battle as well. There's a lot of that sort of idea in there. And, he's multifaceted. Like, we're seeing now on the URL, we're getting a newer Pat. We're getting like a sort of a goods Pat, kind of like someone who's just flossing out, kind of jokey Pat. This one's a bit more of a serious kind of Pat Stay idea. Arcane keeps fighting. He gets some material off. He schemes a hell of a lot. I kind of forgot how much Arcane schemes. He's always doing that sort of stuff. And there's a few lines here and there. Like, there's a few images that did make me smile. Him trying to win harder than trying to give birth in a Turkish prison. I mean, that would be difficult, to be fair, Arcane. So I sympathise. But
how do you come up with a line like that? How do you brain could think like, okay, no, but I remember in his third he had this whole line about organic produce and stuff like that I thought was really good. So he does do some really good scheming, and honestly it's like performances like this where I'm like, everyone hates Arcane, but he's not bad. I mean, no. I hate giving him credit, but damn it, he made this a really good battle. He really, really did. He really fought hard in it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If you would have spoke to me at the time of this battle being released 5 or 6 years ago, I would have been like, Arcane's the fucking worst thing ever to happen to battle rap. Now I don't, like, okay, he's not my favourite, don't get me wrong. He's not going to be in my top 30, 50 battlers ever or something like that. Sure. But the guy knows what he's doing. The guy gets reaction. The guy has projection. He has delivery. And kind of because you mildly dislike him, even though I don't, it makes him a little bit more engaging. Like, you're not kind of, like, with a sketch Menace, just let the sort of bars wash over me. But with Arcane, and I've got to respect it. He was going into a known loss here. Like, there was no way he was going to, like, because he'd already pulled up one upset. There's no way you're getting two back-to-back. Pat was ordained here, and still, he gave it his all, and I do respect that.
You know what? That's a really good point, and I never thought about that, Tom. That's really true. There was no way he was possibly going to win, but goddamn, did he try. I mean, he put his all into this battle, and made it a great one. He really, really did.
So talking about second chances, we now go on to the next matchup. Blackout 4. Diz versus Pat.
And it's the end. So just go off and deny it. Threaten us all, you retire and do another blog of you crying. Yeah, you have the body size of Goliath, but what good is having body size if you don't have the heart of a lion? Even though I'm smaller than him, even though I'm taller than him, he'll always be smaller than I am. This is like WrestleMania 1 watching Hulk Hogan beat the fuck out of Andre the Giant, yeah!
Never confuse emotional with weak. I slit your throat with tears rolling down my cheek. Trying to make a joke out of me, you better leave both eyes open when you sleep and something close enough to reach. Because the last 6 months of my life have been fucked, bro. You think I'm worried about rap? The next tear that rolls down my face might turn into a permanent tat. Wait, you're a fucking fake, spoiled, rich suburban brat. When you spray Febreze, you probably turn it like this and squirt it like that.
Lots of interesting things about this battle, one of which Kid Twist has long hair, which is quite a unique thing to see at the front. And then I think in another battle, he has like a beard in the judging. So, he's trying a lot of things here. He's in his screenwriter bag. And, I respect that. Everyone wanted this battle. This was one of the most demanded clashes. I remember when this was going down, people were so excited. 1.7 mil. Is this the most viewed title match?
It is.
Yeah, I would have thought it would be.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1.7. I want to say the next is okay. So again, this is the power of Pat Stay. So we have him and Arcane, so 600,000. Him and Dizaster 1.7, and then you got him and Daylyt 1.2. But that's the name and the antic. You got him and Charron as almost 1.2, and then him and Illmac with around 600 again. But while Pat Stay is the champion, his average battle is 1 million views. Yeah. You then give it to Rone, and it's about 500,000 views. And then you give it to Head Ice, and it's 250,000 views. So it's just showing like the power and the impact of Pat Stay, because Rone and Head Ice, they're not no-namers. You know what I mean? Like they definitely have their fans, but Pat Stay is on a different level.
Pat, again, I think takes this quite clearly. We have a repetition of the Porich idea where Diz has some incredible sequences, like some real breathtaking shit, like reaching heights that battlers probably never reach just in terms of technicality. Yeah. But he's not in his comfort zone. Diz is not the favourite here. Diz is fighting fire and water. He's not got the most incisive punches, whereas Pat can just uppercut you with a few comedic, 1-2s. Even the start, how long Diz writes, him being in the part in Titanic where DiCaprio drowns, that sort of idea, and him spraying Febreze and turning the can on the side,
that's
and
my
some
favorite
original
bar
shit.
of the entire thing. Bars and performance right there. Perfectly. Like, I can see it. As soon as you said Febreze, I can see Pat turning his arm, spraying the Febreze. Oh my God, it's amazing. Yes.
And Diz focuses a lot in the second on dog bars, like tons of dog, like so many canine bars, and like the golden retriever, they both flip it throughout the battle as well. It's this odd sort of theme that comes through here. And I'm not going to say that, like, for me, there's a few 10-4s, especially in Pat's third. Everything decomposes is trash. Said that. And your bio's degradable. I'm pretty sure Remy D said that about QP and stuff like that. But regardless, we're seeing Pat on champion form. And, Diz, maybe compare this to a Swave Sever, or, compare this even to a Yunnan or something like that. He's just, I don't know, he doesn't seem that comfortable, Diz. He seems like he's almost in, like, withdrawal. Like, he's really sweaty in his hoodie,
Yes, yeah. You know what? He seems uncomfortable, and I feel like he's scared. You know what I mean? I really think he knows that he could lose here, and he doesn't want to. He wants to make up for the Arcane thing, and he feels like he is the rightful King of the Dot champion. But he also knows how what an opponent Pat Stay really is. And so what's interesting about this is Dizaster opens up with this opening line where, you remember what he says, you know what rhymes with I should have been a king in the first place? Remember what he says?
What does he say?
Spitting in Ur's face.
Yes.
Dude, which I thought was kind of amazing, because to me it's like okay, so I may have fucked up with Arcane, but look, I'm still representing for KOTD even against Don't Flop. You know what I mean? Like that's how I kind of take it. And then he like you were saying, he's using this golden retriever line, but he used that exact same line when he battled Arsenal and tries to like call out Pat using that whole same thing. And then he just gets overexcited, so the crowd reacts to his bar, and he's just like, and then he's like, I don't know where I am, but shit, I'm on the big stage in this title match. And you can like hear him thinking, he's saying it out loud, like, I'm fucking up. Why am I fucking up? I need to have a big closer, and I don't know what it is. And, it's like kind of hard to watch, It
is a bit overwhelming. I mean, it's undeniable that in terms of vocab, syllable projection, nuance, wordplay, this has it in spades. But Pat has style. Pat has cadence, Pat engages, again, a lot of the crowd seem a little bit bored in Diz. It's like they'll applaud at the end of some mad sequence, but probably didn't hear it all. I know I certainly didn't hear it all, certainly didn't take it all in. And Diz just seems a bit deflated, a bit of lack of confidence. Again, and it's weird as well to see Diz, this towering dude, doesn't even get up to Pat's shoulders. Like, Pat is a giant, and you can feel that dichotomy in the battle.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And Pat does what he does the best here, which is kind of clowning his opponent and making the fans feel bad for liking someone that they like. And what I mean here is, like, Pat, this is what I feel like makes Pat so dangerous. He can clown your opponent. Anyone can clown another opponent, but he can clown them to a degree that fans of that opponent look at their opponent and go, God, am I dumb for liking this person? Am I the idiot in the room for thinking that this person was good? God, maybe I was. And Pat can do that. He can change the way you view someone else. And that is an amazing ability to have as a battler. I mean, it's got to be the best ability to have. So this whole thing about Dizaster, playing video games and taking the controller and throwing it, just getting like you see that and you go, yeah, you're right. This is totally the type of guy this is. Why do I like him so much? He's a crazy nuthead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Pat does that to you with a certain opponent, and he did that so well here. And so when you have Dizaster kind of messing up in the first, and I feel like he kind of did a little something in his third, and he did a whole racist angle against Pat in the third, which I thought was annoying. Yeah. So you have that versus Pat, who's just deconstructing someone and changing the way you perceive someone. It's an easy win. It makes it very clear in my mind that Pat wins.
I mean, it's the classic hero villain combat here, really, and Diz just looked like a villain in this as well. He looks very demonic, and there's still some good lines here. I really like his first, I'm evil, like a Catholic cathedral attached to the back of a preschool, and these kind of these Diz stuff that are always really impactful.
Yeah.
But Pat does what he does in his third versus Charron as well. He plays the angelic, he plays the man of the people. He talks about I don't know if this is bullshit or not, a kid with cancer that he was talking to, and the tumor decreased in size, and he's like, I don't really, whatever, it doesn't really matter, of course, but it works, and people are really uplifted by that. He even says he doesn't really care about the title. If I lose, you'll be back at home practicing for Charron and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And reading the comments, people are like, "Oh, Diz was robbed, blah blah blah." But I think this is clear. I think Pat takes this, deserving champion as well. It's really a champion performance.
Absolutely, and I feel like if you were to ask Dizaster today, do you think you beat Pat today? I feel like Dizaster would be like, no, I lost to Pat pretty clearly. I genuinely think that's what he would say. I really, really do. Because, I mean, he knows he messed up, and I think he was more mad about his performance than he even let on. And he let it be known to people that, like, he was disappointed that he choked and he got flustered, and that he let the crowd kind of get in his head again. Whereas Passe was just on, and he owned the room the entire time.
We go now to Flatline. This is 1.2 mil. Pat Stay versus Daylyt.
We was fighting for peanuts, but when they weigh in the AM, it was us who created the mega deaths. But this is where the situation get tricky, people. They tell us, go get money, and we realize if we pocket checks, we can get out of the low picture, but some of us don't realize there's no way for us to make the poor richer, so war.
Animalistic characteristics, frame can't even fit in panoramic camera lenses. The manhandling, Van Damme kicking grand slam, hitting flip a fucking Trans Am with the dismantle at the damn engine found in the Grand Canyon by a man fishing transmission land the same quick. Man, listen, it could be your head missing fuck around, nigga found in the sand like a clam digging.
Now, this is a high conceptual battle. Most people will be familiar with this. Daylyt is in his, his slave garb, number 5. He's referred to with his master, who's pretty disconcerting. Makes me pretty uneasy seeing this guy with this kind of fake plastic face. Is that Charlie Clips in there? I've heard that he is.
I thought it was. I thought I heard it was 100 bullets.
It was 100 bullets. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. And as if to compound this, so Day is going into his deep historical Solomon Northrop bag here, and Pat Stay has his Back to the Future shoes on and his propeller hat. He looks a bit like Billy Madison, doesn't he? Like he looks really boyish, and looking again. I remember watching this at the time and being a bit perplexed by Daylyt, but going back and watching his battle, I really appreciate what he was doing, and I think, again, this is a really entertaining clash.
Yeah. It was definitely better. Daylyt was better than I remembered him. Like, his whole first round was a bunch of KOTD battlers name flips and stuff like that, but that's what you want from Daylyt. You want him to come up with. He's the guy who takes a word and makes you think of it in a whole new way. In a way that only he can do. But with that said, I mean, Pat still Pat. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't as good as he was in his last couple, but he didn't have to be. At least in my opinion.
No, yeah, you're right. He's not as good, and in the first, he speaks about Charron, and he clowns
a lot of time.
Yeah. I mean, Charron hangs over a lot of these battles. A lot of people are waiting for that to go through, and a lot of people are kind of confused. Charron battled Clips at this event.
Yep,
I think. Yeah. And beat him quite easily. But obviously, Clips, whatever, was in that era. He didn't really care, and everyone was shouting 3-0 anyway. Lots of Daylyt flips. Daylyt won't see the light of day. It's like, whatever. You know what I mean? We've heard this a million times. I do appreciate Daylyt's first. I don't really like the scheme of the battlers because whatever, but, him begging his master not to rap and getting whipped. And, as a piece of performance art, it really works.
I don't know. I think for me,
ethically, it's a bit off, but just as it's pretty original. The execution's done well.
Yes. I will absolutely give you that. And I think it's kind of the same with him versus B Magic when he does the whole Matrix thing.
Oh yeah.
It's it's amazing to actually see, because you're right. It's performance art, and then in that respect, it's great. Had Daylyt come with really written very well, I think this would be a different story. But this was kind of I get the feeling where he was okay, I got some material. I'll spend half my time preparing, coming up with the antic, and half the time actually writing.
Yeah.
Whereas it should be 90% writing, 10% antic, and it just made it a bit hard.
It did. Pat flips it. Slaves were saved in Canada and that sort of idea. I mean, Daylyt wasn't really kind of engaging with the idea of the Underground Railroad or stuff like that. It was more about sort of the King of the Dot idea of the chain and that sort of thing. But still, it was nice that he did the flip in there. And, Pat does the big pun, Little Italy stuff as well, the twin stuff. Yeah. And, at least I learned what the word expeditiously meant. I never actually really heard that word before, and the master tells Day to rap expeditiously.
Yes.
And Day does a rebuttal as well, light defeat, Canadian, like your shoes, or something like that. I did like the fact that he the master referenced Jeff being his great nephew.
That's pretty amazing.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
So Jeff is
Hollohan.
Yeah. So. That's amazing. That's amazing. No, and like Daylyt, I mean, damn it. I mean, the guy, honestly, he deserved a title shot. As weird as this sounds, I mean, especially with like all the antics, and especially since his last battle was against Real Deal, where that's the infamous one where he's in Arizona and almost shits on the stage.
Yeah.
But you have to remember that before that he's got 9 battles and there's tons of views. He's got a 1 million view battle with Rich Dallas. Oh, yeah. He's got a 1 million view with Chilla Jones, and he's got a couple million with Charlie Clips. So I mean, King of the Dot only has like 23 million viewed battles, and Daylyt's in 3 of them. And so it's pretty amazing. And I get why they would want to put him up there. But yeah, Daylyt was just in full antic mode for a couple of years there.
Yeah,
and
completely.
This was kind of at the height of it.
Yeah, I liked how Pat mentioned the Real Deal battle, and he was ashamed of him because he couldn't shit. He was like, he was like, you ate the yeah, exactly. You ate the same fast food as me. Like, what the fuck? Like, what's wrong with you? That was a really funny twist on it.
That was great.
There was some nice day flips from Pat in the third. Heliotherapy. I'm putting Daylyt in a box.
In a box.
Really original.
Like, how creative.
Yeah,
yes.
Very creative. Very creative. Day dons the ski mask in the third. Getting into his bag, but in terms of the audience reaction, the damage has kind of already been done to this point. There is quite a satisfying 3-act structure to the whole antic where he gains the whip and whips his master off stage, and there's some quite confused boos in here and stuff like that. Like, watching this back, I do marvel at Daylyt's, conceptual bravery to a certain extent. Just to have the balls to do this and to go out there and, for King of the Dot, not even for them to be willing to do it, but them just to be, able. And Pat's a bit bemused, but rolls with it as well. And it's kind of an easy victory in the end for Pat, isn't it? Because he battles. He engages his opponent.
No, absolutely. And he makes it talked about. I mean, there's a reason why it's 1.2 million views and it's a lopsided battle. It's because of what Daylyt brings, and you kind of have to see it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with the ball sweat on Lo Pesci's face, or shitting on the stage versus Real Deal, or the crip in the box versus QP.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So he's got all these different things, and it's like, well, I gotta see it. You know what I mean? I gotta at least see what this is. what actually happens. I'm hearing people talk about it. All I gotta do is click on this link and actually check this out. All right, and Daylyt. I feel like he's moved past that stage. I feel like we've gone quite a while without those sort of antics. And the thing is, I feel like he gave antics a bad name because I feel like sometimes, bringing in a different element to a battle can be really good. It can breathe some life into, what would be just another standard battle. But Daylyt just went over the top with a lot of it, especially the Total Slaughter thing.
Yeah, and there was loads of lower league battles where he choked. I think he choked a guy out in one of them, and tons of stuff there. And he was supposed to battle DNA, I think, at URL and didn't turn up or something like that. But then you get him versus Bangs, which is incredible, and then him versus Mickey Fax, which again was a bit of a disappointment. And
exactly, and he does Mickey Fax terrible. Then next battle he battles Ill Will on RBE, and he's incredible. So it's you never know, and I feel like that's part of the appeal to Daylyt. You just don't know what you're going to get with this guy, and I definitely wouldn't have expected this with the title match.
So a legendary event next. Something everyone wanted to see: Charron versus Pat Stay.
Cause you just do that shit. It got them laughing for months. Oh, am I styling on you? I guess my swagger too much. He said I don't clean and I need some new boxers. But these days, you're whacker than fuck. You like present day Ali. You too shook to be packing a punch.
With a chain from metal to plastic, would have never elastic. We were pedaling backwards on the last thread of the patch of our Letterman jackets. Organic was forced to book all American rappers, and Smack almost wiped us out, so I stepped up and snatched it. Now let me wait.
This is Blackout 5, the Drake-funded OVO. I mean, the lineup is astonishing. And I think in terms of just great battles, there's so many great battles from this event as well. Your Shovel T versus Kid Twist and Nameless, versus 24/7, Soul versus Osa, Conceited versus Dumbfounded, of course, as well. I mean, not necessarily Hollohan versus T-Rex, the Moon Rock bar aside that we mentioned before, but Charron versus Pat Stay. I mean, this had to happen. All in all, what are your thoughts on this battle? Did it live up to it for you?
This is one of my favorite battles of all time. Like, regardless of title matches, this is like top 5 for me. Like, I love this battle. Charron's... What I love about Charron is he is such a fighter. He is the guy that we should all write off. We should all look at him and say, shut up, nerdy white kid. You know, no one cares. And he keeps bucking at that and saying, no, you're gonna respect me, and I'm gonna keep going at this. And he does that with everything. And that's honestly, that's why I think he's gonna beat Twerk next weekend.
Oh, he's gonna body Twerk. Like, Twerk is not gonna prepare and choke, and Charron's gonna beat him. Yeah.
Sure. Twerk's saying, you know, this is Charron, no one cares, nerdy white boy, and he's going to get up on stage, and Charron is going to kill him. Yeah. So this is exactly it. Like, this is why I love Charron, because he has this, like, tenacity. He refuses to give up. And so there is a compilation, I want to say maybe Minnesota Luke made or something, where it's like, it's the road leading up to Pat Stay, and like all the battles where he's called him out, and all the times, all the interviews where he's like tried to like just, this is like the final boss, and he's working up to it, and you finally get to see him. And on the biggest stage with Drake, on the biggest card ever for KOTD, and they put on great. And I love the fact that Pat was just like, all right, I finally have to do this. I mean, I can't keep ignoring this kid. And Pat said in interviews, like, he was more afraid for that battle than any other one, because he knew what a loss to Charron meant, and he knew how bad Charron wanted it. And so you have two people at the top of their game here. I don't know. What did you think, Tom?
I honestly was a little let down. I remember being let down at first. I remember being at home in my parents' house for the summer or something and watching this battle. And just, I remember Charron had that, like, Tom Brady, the way she deflates the balls. And I was like, I was like a bit like, and like, it's better than I remember. There's not too many, like, I love Charron, like, and again, we had a great episode as well. Go back and listen to that episode.
Yes.
And, you know, I don't think he was necessarily at his best here. Not too many successful punches in the first. Lots of toilet humor throughout the battle, especially in the first. Lots of, like, shitting on him sort of idea and that sort of stuff. You know, Pat flips it well, the balls idea well about, you know, who cares if you have small balls and stuff like that. Right. You know, some good stuff. And Look at Me When I'm Killing You comes into play, and that Pat say, like, just a lot of things I've heard before, really. I think the battle gets interesting towards the end with Charron, you know, having his "what's your life like" sort of idea. Like, that is quite emotional.
That is one of my favorite bars ever. You know, talking about, you know, having to be forced to take meds and can't even. This is amazing to me. I can't even hold eye contact. It's really true. But I block it out and make you look at me when I'm killing you. Like, to me, that, like, the build up to that whole thing with his autism and the depression, and he's like, I'm overcoming something, to look, and then to go into his most famous catchphrase, "Look at me while I'm killing you." It was like this great crescendo, like, all coming together, and I absolutely love that line there. I don't know, man. I've watched this battle so many times because I love it so much. I'm actually good with Pat Stay winning. I think he should have won. Because Charron's third isn't as great as it probably could have been had things worked out like they were supposed to. But I feel like all the rounds were the two battlers at the top of their game.
Yeah, I like Pat's second as well. Talking about Charron going on tour and how he didn't change clothes and ate scraps, and Organic only set this up to see you get washed. It's a really,
which was amazing.
Yeah,
yes.
Really funny punch, and him kind of like Pat taking heed from Kruger, where Kruger talking about how Charron had like a King of the Dot pencil case, and you know him saying, "Make you shout out King of the Dot in your mother's eulogy." You'll reference Trevor D's custom jewelry.
Yes.
All the way back from Kid Twist Hollohan right there.
Oh
That's
my God,
crazy.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
No. And what's so funny about this round 2 is like this is where Pat Stay gets to do a race angle against someone else. You know, he's been the recipient of that angle so many times that this time he gets to do it to Charron. And, you know, the thought of that just makes me go, oh, I don't know. Like the race angle I feel is just so played out, you know. But I mean, Pat, of course, does it in the best way imaginable because he's Pat. And so he says, if you hear him say the word cocoon, he's not referencing a butterfly. He just stuttered, guys. Like, that is ridiculous.
That's
and how someone even comes up with that. Like, Pat's amazing. He really, really is. I really wonder what would have happened with the third. What do you think would have happened had Hollohan come out?
Again, I just think, you know, it could have gone one of two ways, really. It could have been like a Dizaster PayPal statement where people might not understand. But I guess the stage was so loaded with the, you know, the glitterati of the battle rap world that that Mook would have went crazy, for example, and everyone else would have followed suit. So, yeah, that is a real what-if situation. Like, and I don't think it would have, you know, Charron as champ would have been great as well. I think Charron as champ now would have been crazy. Yes. You know, there's no Organic would bite your hand off to have Charron as champ now. But, you know, because Pat and Charron really are the only two battlers of King of the Dot that have existed outside the hermetically sealed chamber, haven't they? And thrived on other stages, URL or beyond. Like, I can't think of any other battlers that have fought for the title that have really been successes in that way.
You know what? And especially the fact that they're Canadian.
Yes.
You know? Because for so long, and we've had non-Canadian King of the Dot champions, which, you know, obviously I don't care about. But I think for them it should be like a source of pride to have a Canadian holding the King of the Dot belt. And though you are totally right, Tom, those two guys are the epitome of that. And so I'm kind of surprised that. I don't know if Charron doesn't want it or what exactly is going on there, but I would think Charron with the KOTD chain right now would be ideal for that league.
Has he battled Real Deal? Maybe he could battle Real Deal if he takes it versus Chilla.
He has not. And that's kind of thing. That's England messing everything up. You know what I mean? It's Chilla and Charron have already battled, and so that
they have.
You know, and that was just a couple of years ago. So you know, So I don't think that they they want to do that again. But yeah, Charron and Real Deal, that would be a great battle. I
would like to see that. And, you know, Pat, again, like we touched on this before in the Arcane battle, he mentions his fan in a wheelchair that he paid to come to the venue, which is really, really cool. I also want to say the audio on this clash is fantastic. Like, you can really, when they whisper, you can hear it. It's clear. The battles look awesome. I love the dark stage as well, and you can see the sort of screens at the left and right. And I don't know if you noticed as well, right at the end of the battle when they embrace, Pat whispers to him, "I shortened my third."
Really? Yeah. No, I never did catch that.
Yeah, he said because you can hear him say something, and I just paid attention for a little bit, and you can definitely see because they embrace straight away. Obviously, it's all pantomime, whatever. Yeah. He says shortened his third, so who knows what would happen if Hollohan would have been on the other side? Doesn't Charron flip that in a battle, maybe versus John? Like, I want God on my side, but Organic would let him on the stage, or he says something like that. Yeah, but it's 4-1 Pat. And, you know, Pat takes the victory. And I'm not going to say it's not deserving. It's not a robbery. It's kind of what you want from this clash. I don't think it's either of them at their very best, but it's competitive. It's enjoyable bout.
No, and what's amazing about this is, so with Pat versus Daylyt, he becomes the first person to defend the chain twice. Yeah. Now we got him defending the chain 3 times, which really puts him pretty far ahead of everyone else. because the best anyone else had ever done was Porich and Hollohan, who had defended it once each, but before they lost it. So this was I love the battle, and was really excited to see Pat Stay versus Illmac.
His bro got jumped over some shit this clown provoked. Loyalty says blood's thicker than water. Betrayal says you can drown in both. Let's go. Punches have his blood dropping by the liter. We ain't on the same plane. Now you flying with Aaliyah. Shit, last world diamonds bitch topped me in the theater while you was home beating meat like Rocky in the freezer.
You're always defensive because you figure people think you're a punk. You feel emasculated every time you get in a truck. You'll never be dominant to any of the women you fuck. You have the body of a 12-year-old, and every inch of it sucks. Yuck. Illmaculate. Little flaccid dick.
Yeah, so Pat Stay versus Illmac is next. World Dom 5. Love that red theming. Great event. Some awesome battles here. You know, Soul versus Bender, Kid Twist versus Rone, Saurus versus Definition, which is maybe the best battle of the weekend. I will say...
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to agree with you. The Saurus versus Definition is amazing. Amazing, and no one ever talks about it. I've never heard anyone ever bring it up once. I think it is, that may be my favorite battle of the entire event that weekend. Like, it was amazing on both sides. And personally, I think that was the best Definition I've ever seen. But, sorry.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I will say, Pat versus Illmac, in my opinion, just from someone who's watched all these battles very recently, might be the last truly enjoyable title match.
Yes. Yep,
I think it was kind of downhill from here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I know we're not the only ones. I think Caustic would agree as well, because that was Caustic's whole thing. He's like, when he ends up battling Rone, he's like, yo, we're 6 bars in, and this is already better than any of the last title matches in the last year. You know? And I think, I think you can agree with them. I mean, you really, really can. No, so this one, they got 6.5 months between the last title match, and Illmac comes in and does good. You know, I like how he started off where he's like staring at Pat's chest and then just keeps looking up like he's looking up at the world's largest tower of all time.
Is this the biggest height difference in battle rap history?
It's gotta be.
The only one comparable, because do you know JB? I don't know if you know JB, a UK battler.
JB, no, I don't think so.
He's quite diminutive. He's been on Dovelo, but he was meant to battle Lazy Ass Jack. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Either.
Sure, yeah.
Very, very tall, Oxfordian guy. You know, I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", something. He's smaller than Pat, obviously. The only other one comparable is maybe Dizaster versus Chase Banks. I don't know if you saw that one.
Right,
obviously, Pat is taller, and I think Illmac is smaller. And, you know, it is a giant divide, and Pat has some brilliant height jokes in the first. But yeah, Illmac's first, you say, great, some vintage Illmac. This the last line in Belushi's nose. It's like,
you know, their first round is really just about their height. I mean, that's what Illmac's talking about. That's what Pat's talking about.
What is it? He says, Raphael, his only weapon is his size.
Crazy. Which is an amazing line. Amazing. And then, you know, Pat starting off with "You are not a man. You are not a real man. You know, you never." And that's been used, I feel like, in a few different battles. Obviously, in the next one against Rome, but you know, I know Nameless did that against Big T, and there's definitely been some others. So, there is some pretty classic moments in this battle, and I don't know. What do you think, Tom? Do you think Pat Stay wanted to keep the chain, keep the title?
No. I think he was ready. to sail off to URLCs or beyond. And, I understand that. You always see this, like, we've seen this on Don't Flop with Tony D. And the Yunnan battle, and even the fucking Chris Lee's battle, like, his heart just isn't in it. These guys who battle on the whim don't want to be dictated to, don't want to be told who to battle, or just get a bit bored with the whole, I don't know, just the position of it, and being looked at in that certain way. That's not to say that Pat isn't good in the battle, but he runs out of steam. Illmac puts his foot on the gas. There are some really funny height jokes from Pat here, like, no woman will ever look at you as a man, as you say. You know what rhymes with dude your size? Suicide.
Which is probably the harshest do you know what rhymes with I've ever heard. And it was just like, Jesus. Like, the whole crowd just goes, oh.
And him saying like, I'm like a dinosaur to you as well is great.
Yeah, no, it was great. And, I don't know how much validity we should give this, but, in the next title match versus Illmac and Rone, I mean, Rone says, like, I wrote those jokes.
Sure, yeah, he does. And, Illmac attacks Pat in a way that I've not really seen Pat being attacked before. Maybe I need to watch more Pat battles, but him being a sort of, generic kind of, roid head, tribal tat, walking Jaeger bomb, is what he said. 2 words to describe you, Pat: tribal tat, and that sort of idea. Getting into the Calico situation, which he discusses really adroitly, talking, like, Illmac's so good at pointing out bars that are, are really, really weird and just kind of dissecting them in a brilliant way, skewering them. Like against Soul, when he talks about the whole, 27 rounds and the air traffic controller and that sort of idea. And here he goes on the moonwalk with steel cap boots. He's like, who moonwalks? Who wears steel cap boots? And he's like, what's next? You're going to electric slide with your Skechers tied? I love that. Powerful second.
Yeah, no, he was fantastic in his second, and yeah, especially like you were saying with the tribal tat, and I mean, that was the greatest way I want to say it's the best way I've ever heard anyone ever break down Pat and like make him look like the silly one, because he said, if I had to pick 2 words that best describe you, Pat, tribal tat. And then look at him, the Ed Hardy belt size of yours, I'm way beyond. Say I'm wrong. You are one affliction shirt away from being a walking Jaeger bomb. I mean, those are amazing. Where you're just like, oh yeah, Pat's just like this big, roid head who goes to the bars and hits on all the girls. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you start looking at him in a different way. And I don't know if anyone had done that as well as Illmac did in that round, really, truly.
No, he just absolutely, puts into rights. And Pat's second addresses a few things, cuts it short, and Illmac says to him, that's not enough. And it's right, really. And you can tell that Illmac is getting into overdrive here, part of him that knows he would lose, and he's pointing out Pat's little foibles, how Pat looks nervous. And with the big dick slap on the table, he's already rocking the chain.
Yeah, where did you get that from? Did you get that from Thesaurus or whatever?
Maybe Trevor D just on the side. Just made him a replica, yeah.
He knows who's making them.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right. And you can like actually watch Pat get a little bit uncomfortable in this third round, like looking at the body language and stuff like that. Like there was a little bit of an exchange in that third round where they're just kind of saying some offhanded comments and stuff like that. But like the way Pat's saying it is like, I at least get the impression like, oh, Pat knows he's losing here. And like, this is a real deal. So I don't know if like Pat went into this with like the defensive approach of like, I could lose here. I want to at least lay a foundation of like, I didn't really care anymore. Or if it was just like, he really didn't care. I don't know. I really don't know. But I think either way, you kind of get the impression of like, yeah, he's ready to be done with this.
Yeah, and there's no shame in losing to Illmac.
No.
Like,
God, no.
Illmac's a fucking genius, one of the greatest to ever do it. Still laying it down. Like, I still think about Illmac's flip versus JC, which I think is one of the greatest flips of all time, and I said this to him at Premier Battles when I saw him, where JC calls Illmac a gargoyle, and he's like, you're right, yes. I am a gargoyle, a beast that's set in stone. It's like, Jesus
that's
Christ.
amazing.
How do you come up with that? So, and Pat, again, gets in he kind of, like, he lives up to that Ed Hardy stereotype that Illmac's talking about. He's saying that he has girl fans, you don't have that, being better than the 2-time champ. But the 1 foot is out the door. He's talking about battling Hollow at the end as well, teasing that, so that's already on the pipeline. Yeah. And it comes down to a 3-2 split. Very cool to see Soul judging. Soul, battle bender at that event. Illmac takes it, and these title matches, they're not meant to, like, live forever. You know what I mean? You're not meant to have these people that live for, like, 10 runs. I think every 3 matches, though, to change it up, keeps it fresh, keeps it exciting, gives it more prospective matches, to enliven the narrative.
And maybe Pat realized some of that, and maybe that was part of it. But I don't want to make this sound like Pat just, like, gave up and was just like, oh, whatever, Illmac, just hit me, and just take the chain from me. But because Pat did do a very good job, and again, I mean, it's a 3-2 decision, so I mean, it was definitely close. Illmac deserved to win. I'm glad that he had a chance to, like, win the chain. Definitely deserved, considering all the classics he has put on for King of the Dot. But yeah, him versus Rone is a weird one, though.
Oh, what? Now you're a star? No, you're still broke, bummy, scrounging for rounds at the bar. So I consider the term title not sounding so hard when you will never have a title on a house or a car. See, you never rap enough pith to pack out the joint. And so they made a call to Rone to back up the point. See, we could battle.
I don't play in the ring. Yo, you got no bars like a parolee. No bars like a parolee. I said it twice. That's okay, because I'm guaranteed the pepperoni. Hold up. No bars like a parolee. It doesn't matter. You know why? I'll get a body out of nowhere like Kylie and Chloe. Grimy.
Weird one. Yeah, I don't like... Like, shout out to Rone, Barstool Sports, all that stuff. The guy's having a big success. I think I've, like, grown out of Rone. Like, Rone kind of annoys me, his style. I find him a little condescending. I don't know, there's not much about him that I really find that enjoyable as a viewer. And sadly, Illmac really was not on form in this clash either.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of the bad part about this. Now, this is the one title match out of all 21 I actually got to, like, see in person. And so I actually went down to Toronto. I drove my car 11 hours and went to Toronto for this one. And the boy that I went with, my buddy DJ Trackstar, he was actually one of the judges for this battle.
Oh, cool.
It was him, Poison Pen, Quill, Head Ice, and Nameless. And my boy Trackstar is the one person who actually voted for Illmac. Everyone else voted for Rone. So what's wild about this, though, is, like, I go back and I watch this, and I kind of go back and forth. I think I've probably watched this battle 6 times, and it's just really, really hard to call. I think when I watched this just the other day, I had Rone just edging the first, and Illmac winning the second, I think, pretty easily. But then the third is kind of up for debate. But I get what you're saying about Rone, because I loved his run on Grind Time. I loved his earlier stuff on King of the Dot, and his battle against the Saurus is one of my favorites.
That is a good battle. That is a good battle, definitely.
But after that, I feel like something was kind of missing. He was kind of like an 8 out of 10 after that, you know?
Yeah.
And so in this battle, I feel like Illmac should have easily beat him. And Illmac just, I don't know what it was. He just wasn't really connecting that day.
No, he wasn't. And, you know, he talks a little bit, we go into some World Dom history in the first from Rone, talking about the whole Dirtbag Dan wrestling incident, you know, put you to sleep quicker than warm milk and a lullaby, and, you know, ill kind of slipping up here. Like, was it quite late when the battle was happening?
Dude, it was terrible. It was, it had been 7.5 hours before that battle started. So you have to remember, so we had just seen Dizaster and Iron Solomon the night before, right? Which was a great way to send off the night. Yeah. You start off day 2, Cheddar Cheese and Carter Deems. Amazing. Like you can't even think of a better way to open up in a, you know? But then there are 6 battles in between that and this. And it's so much standing, and your back is hurting, and your feet are aching, and you're hungry, and you've been drinking, and you know you're crowded, and it's just so I think the battle legit started at 1 o'clock in the morning, and the doors open. Yeah, right. So you're just exhausted, and you can hear it. Like I go back and listen to this, and I hear good bars, and nothing's happening. And I want to be like, what's wrong with this crowd? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I was there. I was part of it. You know what I mean? It just took so long. It just took entirely too long.
Yeah, I mean that's just to the detriment of the quality. Like I don't understand. Like I know King of the Dot always runs really late. That's kind of got a notorious reputation for that. And the battles do suffer for it. Surprisingly awful round from Illmatic in the first. Very empty, little choke. You know, it's got that professional construction, but there's no sting at the end of any of the lines. You just kind of, you know, you're just vibing out of it. And, you know, Illmac's like a master. Like, you know, I did the World Rap Championship rewind for Ruin Your Day, so I've seen all of Illmac's and Saurus' stuff, and I bow down to that guy. I think he's absolute genius. Absolutely. And I liked Rone's angle in the second that Illmac raps about swords. And, you know, he says he gives off a rapier vibe, which I thought was very witty. Like, I really like that. All I need is one knife. So, Rone played with it. I will say that to Rone. We get some cheers bars again from Illmac, Norm, and that sort of idea. But one of the things that bothered me about Illmac's logic was in the third, where he speaks about the Pat Stay Rone blowjob video, which, you know, clearly was a joke. And even if it wasn't a joke, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think Illmac's a wise dude, but he seemed to take it seriously and clown Rone for that when, in effect, Rone was clowning Illmac for you know what I mean? It's like, you're an idiot for clowning this because you don't get the joke and you look stupid. I don't look stupid, you look stupid.
You know, I think what stood out to me about all that is, you know, so he's talking about, you know, the actual video, and it's revealed that it's not a girl, it's you know, getting head in the car, and genius, being gay is hilarious. And he goes, get it? Me neither. And to me, what really stands out about this is we're talking battle rap, which is insanely misogynistic and anti-everything, you know, anti-homosexual, all that sort of stuff. So the fact that you have Illmac here being so I guess being gay is funny, it was the first time I'd ever heard any hint of anyone standing in a way, kind of standing up and being like, dude, so what? You know, people are gay. Who gives a shit? That is literally the first time I had ever heard anything like that. And so now we are in 2019, and you don't hear much of that stuff anymore. And I'm not trying to suggest that Illmac created this lane or whatever. But to me, it was the first time I'd ever heard someone do something like that, because all before then, it's just, you know, it's F-bombs and, you know, especially grind time, 20 times a battle and all that sort of stuff. So that bar just always stood out to me just for that aspect of it. But I totally get what you're saying, because obviously they're just having, Rone and Pat are just, making light of this whole compliment battle, and how in love they are with each other, and sipping a smoothie out of different straws.
It's funny.
All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think Rone, I don't know. I figured out something about Rone, and I'm curious to see what you think. I think one of the things that makes Rone so special, and like what kind of separates him and makes him unique, that people don't really notice, is that he does lists. He lists things.
Yeah.
And so like he will talk about to Kid Twist all the reasons why being a hipster isn't cool.
Yeah.
And then he gives a list of all of it. And talks to Caustic in their original battle about being white, and lists all the things about being white. And then Big T, a list of all the reasons why being fat is bad. And then in this one, he gives a list of all the reasons why being taller is better than being shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like something people can really kind of connect with and kind of follow along, as opposed to just kind of, here's a random bar, there's a random bar, we're just kind of punching. You kind of go with him down this journey, and it makes it easy to follow.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, millennials, we're the BuzzFeed generation. Like, we dig that sort of stuff. We dig that spoon feeding. And yeah, you're right. And you mentioned before the math that he does about him, how short Illmac is and how much richer he has to be to compensate. And I'm already $250,000 more attractive than you, and then that sort of idea. And he's too short to die for his country as well. Which, again, I know Illmac's very sort of anti-war and that sort of idea. But still it works. And we mentioned off air as well about Watchmen, and me and Definition do a Watchmen podcast, and Illmac gets a nice Watchmen reference about the Rone Pat stuff. Dr. Manhattan, he blew dick on screen.
Yes.
Which really nice. And we get a little bit of a Sandusky stuff as well. But Rone takes it. I mean, as soon as Illmac was crowned champ, it was yanked away by the Prince,
Mm-hmm. You know what? Just seeing Illmac like afterwards. So obviously Rone was like elated, like he was beside himself.
Yeah.
He was very happy, and he should be. He had worked many years to get to this point, and he had kind of prophesized that this was going to happen, and it finally came to fruition. So shouts out to him. Illmac, I think, was pretty pissed off that he lost, though. He couldn't quite understand like how the judges voted against him. But I do think that it was the right decision. I do feel like Rone was a little bit better that day.
Yeah, no, he was. He certainly was. And we're at World Dom 6 now. Quite a controversial battle for the later rounds. Rone versus Caustic.
You don't want to mess with dude. He's never struggled a day in his life. His parents put him on a pedestal. He's got a top 5 with no non-white rappers. He's got a tattoo right above his champ stamp that says hashtag All Lives Matter.
The way you vilified Arcane when you are 10 times the cheater, that's like getting ethics lessons from fucking Carlos Mencia. But fucking predict it. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Go and get your ghostwriters. I guarantee they're not enough. Oh, you write your own shit? Yeah, so does Melania Trump. Yo, you really can't...
Yep.
Now, Bishop calls Toronto in the intro the #1 crowd in the world. Battle Rap crowd in the world. I mean, that's empirically, resoundingly... wrong. Like I'm not even on my don't flops better shit. But just
I was just gonna say. I mean, you've been to Fiddler's Roof. I'm sure you've seen these crowds. I mean, I think everyone pretty much has to agree. Don't flop crowds, especially in its heyday, were like, they are leagues above.
But even like URL traffic crowds, like, you know what I mean?
Dude, URL, they have crowds that cheer. They're knowledgeable. They know when to cheer. They're not just cheering after every bar. Like they absolutely know their stuff. I just love the energy that Don't Flop crowds give, and so I personally always viewed them as like the best crowds in battle rap.
Now, Rone is teasing throughout the battle that he has dirt on Caustic, and if anyone's deserving to have dirt on them, of course it is Kid Caustic, professional Smash Bros player, And it's just, I mean, shout out to Caustic. We did a Ruin Your Day together. We did Shovel T and Marlowe versus Cracker and C Major. Yeah. Great dude. And I love how Rone, because obviously everyone clowns Caustic's voice, for many different reasons. Say, sounds like Jeff Ross. And Rone says that he sounds like Pig from Toy Story, which is a new one that I've not heard before.
Yes,
we get
and
Sandusky.
Put a nickel in your back.
Yeah. We get some Sandusky shit in the second as well. But it essentially boils down to this battle: Rone pulling the rug underneath that Caustic is the recipient of many shared bars from many people. What did you think of that?
I really liked it actually. I feel like it went on. It kind of overtook this battle, but not nearly as much as the Disaster one. I feel like they kind of learned from his mistake, but I do feel like it's interesting. You have a guy, Caustic, who's lets everyone know that Arcane bought these bars from him, and Arcane is just ousted from the battle rap scene. He is no longer anywhere where he's like a pariah of the scene now. And with Caustic being the guy to oust him and now having the same thing called back on him, it's like you're really looking hypocritical. And I know Rone had said, he works with King of the Dot of who's going to be the next person he's going to battle. King of the Dot's going to offer him someone, and Rone gets to put his input on whether he likes or not. And he wanted to do a rematch with Caustic because of this. He felt like he had some things he wanted to say, and he said them all. And the fact that he brought up battlers' names really brought validity to it.
It's it's crazy. And he mentions 5 battlers giving him bars from Mr. 13. And that's one of my favorite Caustic performances. 24 hours notice.
Oh, it's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Seriously good battle. The biggest robbery in the history of Don't Flop.
I was going to say that. Yep.
Yeah. We did an episode on that quite a while ago. Top 10 Don't Flop robberies, and I'm pretty sure that was number 1.
I listened to that one. Yeah.
24 hours notice doesn't mean anything when you have 24 people writing for you. But
so amazing.
I mean, Caustic does kind of rebuttal this inadvertently earlier on, mentioning Rome versus Youth Oracle and how he gave him a whole round and stuff like that. And this stuff to us degenerates is interesting, but I can't help but feel those on the outside don't really give a fuck. We want to see someone dismantling them rather than dismantling the authors of their work. It's not that interesting.
So, what's funny that you say that about this particular battle? I mean, I've watched thousands of battles, and I have friends who are like, okay, so I know you're really into battle rap. I want to watch battle rap, blah, blah, blah. And so, I give them suggestions or whatever, and then they'll be like, well, who are some of your favorites? And so I remember to one of my friends, I said, I really like Rone, I really like Caustic. And then so they found the Rome versus Caustic battle, and they watched that as one of their first battles they'd ever seen. And to your point, it's like they don't care about any of that. They don't even know what any of that means. And so, yeah, I get it if you're a degenerate who knows who all these people are and who knows about the battles that they're referencing. But to everyone else, it's just like I don't care. I don't care who wrote for you and who said what and who you paid. Tell me about. I want to know why Rone looks funny. And Rone, tell me about how big Caustic's nose is. That's sort of stuff that I want to hear. So
absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, yeah, we keep harking back to Hollohan versus Kid Twist, but this sort of stuff wouldn't have came up, Okay, the scene hadn't developed to that point, so it's kind of obtuse to say that, but it was, it was about being direct, and there are some direct stuff. Caustic clowns on his sort of bitty flow and chihuahua and all that sort of stuff, and but then there's some stuff like Caustic. I'm like only thing black in his house is electrical tape, and it's like whatever. And then he does the Sandusky stuff again, which we've heard so many times before. But Rone isn't exactly reinventing the wheel either. It's a bit of a battle of attrition, really, and Rone manages to win. but no one's going to put this down as a classic King of the Dot title match, right?
So, okay, I will say this. I agree with you, and I remember like talking with the friend while the battle's going on, and it's kind of debatable who's winning the battle. But the second half of Rone's third, where he does the whole karma thing about like, I hope this happens to you, Caustic, because what you did to Jefferson Price, or what you did to Daylyt, or to Cortez, or to Megadeth, and he just gives a list of everyone. It was like that at least to me made it a very clear win over Caustic. It was again another list. He gave a list of all the people that Caustic had done wrong, and this was payback for all of it.
It was, and unfortunately, we as viewers had to suffer this retribution, and it doesn't live long in the memory. Neither does Ice's reign, which begins.
Oh.
I don't get Head Ice. I have to say
Tom,
categorically.
I was afraid about this part of the podcast, man. It's about to get bloody here. All right, yeah.
Blackout 7.
I really don't get it either.
No.
What did you think about Rone versus Head Ice? Like that announcement.
You gonna need a miracle, like that Kevin Dyson Titans play. Who you kidding? Back in prison, you got pressed like a license plate. So bitch, name the time and place. I'll show up drinking Elijah Craig and throw your stepmother in a death cutter like I was Diamond Page. You still trying to get booked in New York? But you're striking out like you're Ryan Howard. URL offered him a contract for $8.95 an hour. The way that...
Man, Pac mentality. I've been a king before they asked Pat to battle me. Your Tostino commercial was whack. In all actuality, I'm just keeping it a G like the check they gonna give me after you battle me, nigga.
Like, okay, I think similarly to Daylyt versus Pat, it made sense. Because Ice had battled Big K, he battled Pat Stay. Had he battled anyone else on King of the Dot? I think he...
Dude, he had
been around,
11
right?
battles. He had 11 battles on King of the Dot before a title shot.
11?
Which is insane, right? You would have never have guessed that.
Many, yeah.
But you have to remember he was battling Pat Stay way back in the day.
Yeah, true, like
2011, 2012.
Yeah.
So he's done a number of them. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. So going back, so we have Pat is the first. Then he battled Daylyt, and then he battled the Dead Man. He battled Caustic, Sirius Jones, KG, Real. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, fair enough. He battled a fuck ton. He battled a lot more than I thought he did. So it made sense for that reason. Again, it made sense for a narrative change, a direction shift, but I just feel that, like, the sense of meaning in Head Ice's writing has just been disintegrating since the Pat Stay battle. There's so much garbled nonsense in here. It's just not what I want from battle rap. Like, I'm here for creative writing. I'm here for invigorating performances. I'm not here for empty street chat. Like, I just kind of twiddle my thumbs when he raps.
Right. I'm the same way, and obviously, that's kind of like I don't want to say like a stigma or something like that with Head Ice, where it's just like you kind of know when Head Ice raps, he's going to be saying some shit that makes no sense to anyone that you know of. And like one of the things that I feel like is pretty disrespectful to Head Ice, and I don't really mean to be, because I met Head Ice at Blackout 6, and he was super cool. Like, I mean, he deserves everyone to like really like him. He's like a legit cool person, like in real life. But god damn it, man! Like, what it is Head Ice has one or two lines in each round or battle where it's like, yo, that was a really hard hitting line. Like that was dope. But now you have Geechee Gotti, and Geechee Gotti does that every fucking bar now. So, like, you can have, like, 10 battles with Head Ice where the impactful lines all total up to one round of Geechee Gotti. So it's kind of like out with the old, in with the new. And, like, as mean as that is to say against Head Ice, it's just kind of, I get where people like his presence, but presence should not win battles. It really shouldn't.
No.
No.
You can't win a fucking sports game on presence. Like, you have to deliver on the court. Doesn't matter how cool you look, like, or the aura you give off. Like, it's it's just not there. You know, doesn't engage with his opponent. Says some occasional cool stuff. The stoplights and stoplights is a badass line, and the
great line.
Cow titties line that Rone sort of clowns and
T-Rex.
and stuff like that, like, you know, and Rone kind of, but he says like slide on ice and get cool running. I'm like, didn't Big K say that to you?
Exactly, dude. So I was the exact same way. I'm like, well, are you flipping a line that was said to you, but in a less impressive way?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? This is a title match,
Baffling,
man. Come on.
Baffling. And one of the things I did notice was he mentions Dice Raw, the Philadelphia rapper Dice Raw, who basically I'm a big fan of the Roots. And they have an album called Undone, which is a brilliant album, concept album, basically told backwards, the sort of life of a street kid from his death to his birth. And there's a song called One Time on that, and they always have sort of a coterie of rappers on there, and there's a rapper called Dice Raw on there. Never heard of Dice Raw before, loved his verse on One Time, thought he was exceptional. I was like, I need to listen to more of this guy's music. YouTube Dice Raw, first thing that comes up is music video of him and Rone, like, which was like the weirdest thing ever. I was like, what the fuck? And like, it's not bad, like, it's fine. And I was like, you know, so that was kind of cool. But like, Ice has some stuff where I'm like, what does this actually mean? So he said, hold your head underwater. This is a second to Rone. Hold your head underwater until you see the release date of when Surf comes back. I mean, I understand water surf, but
come on, man. Yeah. We can do better than that. I mean, we really, really can. No, there's just some odd references in there, and I remember listening to I can't remember which round it was, but it was one of them where he's talking about like a man like one of the movies. Oh God, I'm gonna have to find it. But one of the movies from from the 80s, like it's not Coming to America. Maybe it was Coming to America.
Coming to America, okay.
Yeah. Where he's like referencing like this end bonus scene, and then how it relates to Rone, and he's like, you know what I'm talking about, and I'm like, no one knows what you're talking about, and I'm surprised I know what you're talking about, and I've got to be one out of 70 people who actually caught that reference. Like, why would you like think that line would be a good line to put in a battle where like people are supposed to react off of what you just said? No one's going to get any of this. I just don't get where it's coming from.
No. And, you know, there's more obscurity there. He references New Jack City as well, but doesn't really flesh out the line that well. So, yeah, it gets to that point. I mean, ultimately, this was Rone's battle to lose. And he lost it, in my opinion, for the cocky white kid angle in the third. Like, you know, our fathers both had the same opportunities. Mine made more. Like, that was misguided, really. And, that was it.
So, okay. So, before I get to that, we have Head Ice's third. Wait, did Rone go first? No. Head Ice went first,
Ice went
right?
first, yeah.
Yeah. So, Ice has the Rone flip where Rone battled Tricky P back in 2012 on Grind Time or something like that, and he says all these disparaging remarks about Toronto, and then Ice supposedly found that battle and then said those same lines and made Rone look really bad. What I have a problem with is, like, did Head Ice really do the homework and go back and watch Rone versus Tricky P before the title match? Like, I just don't see it. No. And I can't imagine that someone didn't find that for him and say, you should do this. But back to Rone's third. You're totally right, man. Misguided is the perfect word here, because I feel like Rone has been towing that line with like the white privilege kind of racism thing. I mean, his
that
famous
Penn
line
State
is
sort of
Yes. But you know, he's kind of famous for saying that line where it's like, you know, all these black rappers are ducking me. They must think I'm their kid or something. You know, like it's like things like that. We're like, damn, that's really harsh. And he kind of just overstepped that even more, battling Head Ice, and I think that's why the judges were like, I can't get behind this, man. I can't. You've just gone a little bit too far this time. Yeah, I don't know. What did you think?
I felt Rone overall won it, and I think some of his ideas about the scenes passing ice by was really nice. And that was probably the best sequence.
Oh, that was amazing. That was the best scheme of the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that was the highlight of the battle with that idea. And there's a nice ending punch where, you know, even if he wins the chain, he'll pawn it after. And that's over there, and it doesn't mean anything to him. And it is like Rone versus Head Ice. If it wasn't a title match 5 years ago, it would just be this giant fantasy match you just put on a forum for laughs. It'd be like, oh yeah. Shuffle T versus Calico, you know what I mean? Just why not? Fucking do it. And it kind of played out that way. Like, they didn't lock into each other. Like, say, Head Ice versus Pat, or Head Ice versus Daylyt or something, or Real Deal. Those kind of, you know, made a bit more sense. This one didn't. Rone, again, brought a lot of energy, you know, clearly wrote for the battle, put a lot of his all into it. Ice kind of coasted and was lucky, really. It wasn't that he was that astonishingly good. It was just that Rone slightly misjudged it. The crowd were tired. The propensities were leaning in a certain way. And, Ice was the fucking King of the Dot champion for some reason.
God, that's so wild to me. That's so wild to me. And I get why people are saying, like, okay, it's a conspiracy, you know, they wanted Ice to win it, and it wouldn't have mattered what Rone did. They were going for a totally different demographic. They want to be URL. Like, I can get why people would say that, you know, after watching this battle, because like you said, I think, you know, when we kind of look at it as a whole, I think Rone was better, but he did have some miscalculations in there that I do think ended up costing him the actual match.
And, you know, it shouldn't have happened. And as punishment, nature was just forcing this on us. We had to endure Cortez versus Head Ice.
And you was a block from Diz, I do not respect you. You a Brooklyn Dodger. We could go ask Brooklyn Carter. In Chicago, you asked me could you throw a shot at me. Because you knew if I felt shit was fishy, I was going to put these hooks up on you. Law 5.
Ride never, apply pressure, vice grips. If caught, take off, it's a flight risk. See, I'm known to flip out on screen like sidekicks, so you best to bring your dogs everywhere like white chicks. Boy!
Dude.
Is this the worst title match ever?
Dude, I was just gonna ask you, is Cortez versus Head Ice worse than Porich versus PH?
Oh, that's hard. I would say that's difficult. That's Sophie's choice right there. That is fucking hard to. I'm gonna have to ponder that. I don't know actually, because there's certain things that Cortez does, such as the Instagram posts that he kind of focuses on, and him pushing forward the league, that I don't mind. Whereas I don't think PH versus Porich has many redeeming moments. But, I mean, this battle, World Dumb 7, it's worth saying that people might not be aware. I certainly wasn't really aware. I think it was Let's Talk Battle Rap that spoke about this that made me cognizant of it. Obviously, these guys have battled before, hadn't they? And it had gone a certain way.
Yeah. So, I want to say that was 2008 on the Lions Day league, Loaded Lux's league. And what made the battle so significant is they had, the judges were Raekwon, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, these are that's insane. And, you know, they picked Head Ice, and everyone, I think kind of the consensus is Cortez actually won. But the judges, for whatever reason, went with Head Ice.
Yeah.
And so now you have a chance to make it right. And I don't know. How did you feel this battle ended up going down? I mean, who do you think actually won it?
I definitely think Cortez won. Definitely think Cortez.
I do.
I think he was.
I do too.
I think he was robbed. I think he was completely robbed. You know, 90% of the time with Ice's bars, I don't know what he's talking about, and the 10% I do understand. The bars are trash. Like, you know what I mean? There's nothing here. We get a skate on ice bar again in the first. Yeah. I mean, Cortez's first is terrible. Like, we have a meth, the blade break in bad. It's like, you know, it's kind of sad, isn't it? At the start of each round, Organic literally begging the crowd to wake up.
Yes,
depressing.
Hey, we're all here to have fun.
Yeah.
Let's liven up. Like, we're normally, they're like, shut the fuck up. Quit, quit talking and having so much fun. Like this time they're like, come on, guys, please. I need something.
But the second is the highlight. Cortez, getting his fucking PayPal statement steez on right now, printing off Ice's Instagram, him and some girl in his bed, him clowning on his ass, her ass, sorry, being flat. If that's wolf love, I don't want it. And like the way that Cortez like breaks character and really giggles, like really makes me laugh. Like it's quite endearing.
Right. No, I know, and I like Cortez. I just wish it would have been better here. I was excited about him going for the chain. I really felt like this was going to be an easy win for him. I really, really did. And especially, Head Ice's first round, does it ever end? It's 9-10 minutes long. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? What are we doing here?
Lots of he mentions like putting his dick in her hand and like Cortez's dick, and no one responds, and he's like, "You'll get it later." And I guess what he means, because she says, "I don't get high," so it's like his dick's like a spliff or something, like it's that thin. But there's not really, for him to say "you'll get it later," there's no wordplay, there's no double entendre. It's just an image, and it's it's very half baked. And, Cortez at least puts forward his fucking election plan, as it were, saying, here's what I want to do. Kind of like a proto-app before the URL app. I want to get us off YouTube. Sure. He's very hopeful. He's very sort of, eye in the sky thinking, like pie in the sky. He's like, yo, Organic, Drake, you can sort this out. It's like, what? Like, you know what I mean? I don't really know what he's talking about, but, there it is. He mentions his own league as well, Tears Over Tears. I don't think that ever came to fruition.
I feel like there's something on there, but I don't think there's any battles of note, at least that we know about. But yeah, man, and I feel like some people kind of thought that worked against him as well. They're like, how are you gonna be promoting your league when you're battling to be champion on this league? But either way, it's still better than what Head Ice was bringing here.
It is. And again, baffled, Ice mentioning a lot of angry fan stuff as well in the third that no one really gives a fuck about. Lots of Harlem math stuff. Just lots of stuff that's very out of the battle, There's lots of stuff to talk about with Cortez. There's lots of stuff to get into, but I don't think Head Ice really has that sort of level of battle rap nous to really obliterate him in that way. He has to talk about his history rather than engaging with who Cortez is.
Right. Yeah, and again, this is what makes it so surprising that Head Ice would find this battle with Rone. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, is this guy really doing this sort of research because he really wants to win this match and stuff like that? I don't see it, and I just kind of thought of Head Ice as someone who wanted the chain, looked cool, wanting the chain, but what did he do? What did he do as a champion? I can't think of a single thing. And we get him versus Chilla Jones. Chilla Jones, like within 2 days of winning the chain, is like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be, I'm setting up a new league in New England, and we're gonna be doing a Grand Prix. And he's just got all these things where you're like, all right, awesome, let's go do this. But yeah, so Head Ice ended up becoming the fourth person to ever defend the KOTD chain, which is impressive. But man, I was very glad to see the next battle happen. I knew there was no way. Like, how is Chilla Jones going to lose to Head Ice? It can't happen.
No.
Aiming and popping, start sniping a lead with a bullet right in the head, going right in the head. You was right in the head. Kingpin, I right in the head. But you right in the head? Crazy, I ain't right in the head. But you gonna try and take my life till I'm dead. How so? Tell them try it. Like I've been on a diet, the cow's low. You'll be paralyzed trying to battle like carry me out, bro. They bringing head back and forth to the ring like Al Snow. Now you know.
Call people who tote burners when we around. Only for your shooters to come shake my hand and be like Ice. Just give us the word and we'll burn these niggas down. Because killers respect killers. And your scheme don't work here, take that scheme elsewhere. Or get dragged with a Canadian flag to a slab to get supreme health care.
The other notable thing about this is that, as I said earlier, since like 2011, 12, they had every King of the Dot title match either on World Dom or Blackout. And it was every 6 months. Except for 2 of them, that Outbreak one and a different one. But now you have Head Ice versus Chilla Jones. It is on a World Dom, but there's a 17-month gap between that battle and the one versus Cortez. 17 months
that
versus
doesn't seem right. I know that is right, but that's mad. I didn't realize it was that.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, that is
it's
insane.
like usually it's 5.5 to 6 months. Now we have 17 months. So you have to now. Granted, they were supposed to battle earlier, and then that didn't happen because of whatever, passport, whatever. But yeah, right, which is kind of laughable. But so 17 months. So you have a long time to prepare for someone. And maybe that accounts for why Head Ice's first round is 9.5 minutes long. But man, I was saying this to Chilla Jones. It's like I transcribed almost every one of the title matches. I want to say like 18 or 19 of them. And this Head Ice first round was just painful because he's trying. You see Head Ice trying to scheme because he's battling Chilla Jones. So he's like, I guess I got to scheme, and it was
it's brutal.
We could have done better. You know what I mean?
It's yeah. And I want to say as well, people go check out your interview with Chilla, which just dropped on the Let's Talk Battle Rap. So occasionally you do these, often with France and Vlad and stuff, but you often do these one-on-one interviews, kind of similar to Battle Rap Resume. Really great interview with Chilla. Really enlightening. Went through a lot of the stuff and his history and the DNA's breakdown as well. Why people got tired of scheming. I found that really interesting. But yeah. So this was World Dom 8, and the first title match outside of Canada as well. The Kingpin of New England. And I remember live tweeting this. So I didn't actually go down. I went the day before down to London because Avo did some Ruin Your Day outside of his hotel room, and I actually got the chance to meet Head Ice, and it was really nice to chop it up with him briefly. And but I didn't go to the event the next day, but I watched it on the pay-per-view and I was live tweeting it. And I remember the tweet that got the most retweets and favourites was, I was watching this battle and I simply said, seriously, what the fuck is Head Ice talking about? I have no clue most of the time, yet again, what he's saying in this battle. Punishing round, 9-minute round. And you might be aware just through Battle Rap Resume, other people will be aware. Like, Chilla was my first, obsession in Battle Rap. Like, his early catalogue of battles, the Cash Eating battle, the B Magic battle, of course, the JC battle, the MC City battle, the DNA battle, the Daylyt battle, they just really, opened my mind. These were the ones that I was just in love with, the ones that I know back to front. I'm not going to say he's fell off, but I'm not really as involved with Chilla anymore. I can sort of see the strings a little more of his scheming, and, it's a little bit more laboured or whatever. But, undeniable that he takes this clash. Again, Ice has a lot of nonsense. In the first, the crime scene was so loud that the child tried to call the police on a toy phone. What? What does that even mean?
What?
So it's that loud that I don't even want to get into that. I mean, this isn't why we love battle rap. This is just some sort of, boring sort of verse. But, Chilla does enough, doesn't he? He kind of indulges the British slang in the second and mentions the Swave battle. And he has, quite a niche UK references Mike, P and Koj and Premier Battles and stuff like that. And, he takes it straight up for me, Chilla. No doubt.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And it did exactly what it was supposed to. I think the most surprising thing about it was that it was a lot. I think all the judges gave it to Chilla 2-1, which was really surprising. And maybe it's just, they don't want to be disrespectful to Head Ice, but I feel like everyone else in the world is just like, yeah, that's a 3-0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, undeniably so. And, he just kind of... Ice, I'm not going to say Ice doesn't have anything here. He does have a few of his one-liners, trust issues, make your wife suck my dick before I talk to you and stuff like that. And the idea of, Chilla being in a sticky situation and not being able to scheme his way out of like real street politics,
Right.
and which is kind of been done, and that sort of idea. But yeah, I mean, again, like Pat and Illmac and like Tony D and whatever, there comes a time in every champ cycle when he's ready to let it go, and it was Chilla's time.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's kind of funny, like on the pay-per-view, you can kind of hear Arsenal and Head Ice talking as soon as the battle's over, where like Arsenal is like, Head Ice, now that you're not KOTD champ, maybe you can come over to UW and I'm going to, give you some battles that you want and stuff like that. And it just kind of lends credence to the idea of like Head Ice didn't want to be champ anymore. And granted, he had only, he defended it once, but what they actually, but he was the champ for a very long time because there was such a long time in between the battles.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, by proxy, really, he was there at the top. And that brings us to the end, Tim.
Yeah,
that's fucking
we made
21 title matches right there.
All right, Tom.
Got right to the end. I mean, we're building up now. Just briefly, we'll chat on Chilla versus Real Deal. For me personally, I can see the Chef taking it.
I can too. But here's the thing. I remember Chilla saying, KOTD didn't think maybe it'd be fair to have a title match in Boston when that's where Chilla's from. But Chilla's like, you know what? You're going for the chain. You got to come into the, King's throne. So, maybe that's just how it should be. I kind of feel like I could see Real Deal actually taking this. I could as well. But I feel like Chilla wanted the chain for so long. It's hard to see him giving it up after the very first one. Real Deal's had 16 battles on KOTD before this shot, and that's a really long time. And this is one of the first times. Again, this is going to be at Massacre, so it's not a World Dom or Blackout, and yeah, one of the only times that's not happened. But I'm looking forward to it. Real Deal has gone such a long time, and it's been so consistent that this is a long time coming and long overdue.
Yeah, I mean, I remember at the time when I was in my real Chilla stamp phase just after the Daylyt battle, and I was so excited. Who's he going to battle next? And he got announced for Real Deal. And there, I wasn't really into Real Deal. I remember being underwhelmed by that matchup, and then the actual match itself was okay. It was fine. But progressing from there, I became a giant Real Deal fan. Like, I'm thinking about the Soul battle, the A-Ward battle, the Ellipsis battle, the Quill battle is fantastic in that battle. So many good showings, so consistent. I love his penetrative style as well.
Yes.
And I think Chilla has become a little bit too laboured, a little bit too overworked. And Real Deal just has that blue-collar underdog, fucking Rocky Balboa nature to him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I think, and like, I'd love to see him as champ with the chain on. I think he can really pull that off. But regardless, it's gonna be a really cool match. And here's to 21 more of these things. And this has been marvelous to go through this, Tim. I guess finally, yourself, the podcast. Like, how do people listen? How do people get at you?
So yeah, I'm on Twitter as don't tweet much. So it's not a whole lot to follow there. So But yeah, no. You should really follow the podcast. Let's Talk Battle Rap.
Amazing podcast.
So it's also the Twitter name for France. But yeah, Let's Talk Battle Rap's putting out podcasts usually 2-3 times a week or whatever. And I'm really honored to be part of their podcast, and just honored that you asked me to be on this, man. I mean, they kind of affectionately refer to me as KO Tim D.
They do
over there because this is kind of my lane. So it was very fun to be able to go through all the last 21 battles and rewatch them and go through them with you, man.
No, this was incredible. I think this is going to top like 3 hours or so. So this is my God, insane that we've gone through all these battles. But no, this is a pleasure, man. And again, I want to stress, people go listen to Let's Talk Battle Rap. It is an amazing podcast. Like, I love when you're on the show, and both France and Vlad are kind of the main co-pilots over there, and Bad Money. All of you guys are there. Dylan, I won't forget him this time. Like,
nice,
all of you. But yeah, real quality show. And let us know down below, guys, what your favorite King of the Dot title match is, what your least favorite is. What did you think of our opinions on the matches? What do you think about Chilla versus Real Deal? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
As always, we've got lots of cool stuff coming up on the show. Follow us at battlerapresume, or on Twitter at battlerapresume, patreon.com/battlerapresume, battlerapresume@gmail.com. All the stuff that I mention on every show are down below. But thanks, King of the Dot, for all this great entertainment. And it's been wonderful charting the history. And Tim, thank you again, man.
Hey, thank you so much, Tom. It was a real honor, man.